Hello there, my beautiful little squirrels. How the devil are we all? I'm very well. I thank you for asking. Apologies, I was not around yesterday. I wish I had some great reason, but I just went to the football and then I went and got drunk. That's it. There's no particularly big reason for that. It's just I went and got very drunk. So did a big noise happen? What did I do? I don't know. Hello there, giblets for cats. Have you been running or wanking? Neither. What are you talking about? I'm just hyped. Fucking hyped. Hey Kev, there's a new 9-part drama series on Mussolini on Sky. Looks really good. Fair enough, I guess. We get your 707s ready. I was actually reading about the killing of Benito Mussolini, as you do. Good hangover fare. And I was reading there was an interview with the guy that arrested him, the local partisan guy, not the guy that came along later to actually execute them all. The guy who originally arrested him, and he said he wanted to protect him at least, so he could hand them over to the authorities and they could do whatever. And so he was saying to Mussolini, I'm going to arrest you now, but don't worry, no one's going to hurt a hair on your head. Which is I'm I'm glad that that's a phrase that also exists in Italian apparently. Because you get those sort of weird European-y things in Latvia they say, if a chicken lays an egg you'll win the lottery on Tuesday or something like that, right? And you're like, well, what does that mean? It means don't swear at your nan. And you're like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? So it's nice that they've got there's a bit. You're not sure if idioms cross borders, So that was nice. Anyway, the point being, I giggled like fuck. Right? I was listening to the audiobook of this, and when it quoted the guy saying this, he was saying. I won't hurt a hair on your head. And then he instantly realised that was a really stupid thing to say to a man who was completely bald. So, at the moment of, the height of this man's life, right? The most interesting and exciting moment in this man's entire life. The only thing it will ever be remembered for, at that exact moment he was thinking, oh fuck, why did I say that to a bald bloke? Bollocks. Do you know what I mean? And I love that. It's so human. It's such a beautifully human thing. You want it to be super fucking cool and some James Bond shit you're arrested, Mussolini, you bitch. And then you cuff him and then you fucking take him to that thing and you want it to be fucking badass. And actually he just made a bit of a cock up of it, verbally at least. I love that. I had to stop the audio book because I was laughing so hard that I literally couldn't hear the fucking what was being said. So that was that's a thing. Do I like Mussolini? All I'll say is there are very few channels, I think, even Italian channels, on twitch.tv that have a specific emote which entirely exists to mock not murder, because you can't murder a tyrant, the killing of and exhibition of the corpse of Mussolini. There are very few. I think I might literally be the only one. I think I might be the only person who has that. 707s at the ready, everybody. Yeah. So, no, I don't like him. There would still be hair on his eyebrows, which is on his head, so technically not wrong. Yeah, seamstress, but that's not really what's meant by that. When you say on your head, you mean your hair, don't you, rather than your eyebrows or something. He might have had a little bit of stubble as well. You could claim that was technically part of his head as well. Also, I have made a tiny amount of effort to make this stream slightly less shit. And by that I mean a really small amount of effort. I've added a new sound emote sound alert thing for the YouTubes when someone becomes a member. So if that happens today, yeah, that can you'll hear that, hopefully, if it works, which who knows. Do you like my emote? What is your emote? No, that's... Oh, hang on. That's boom. No, bonk. Oh, okay. I see what you've done. Oh, you've got some cool ones, actually. Yeah, you've got some cool purple cat ones. Everyone go and follow Mad Cat Scotty, by the way. Who is legit dopeness, if you'll allow me to use a very silly phrase. Yes. Anyhow, right. Where was I? I don't know. Yes, so, content. Should we do some content? Maybe. I'm not with a co-hostess with a co-mostess today, because she is in America, or is on her way to America. I don't fucking know. So we're on our own today. Yeah, we're on our own. How do I like this one? That's a weird one. Yeah. Anyway, if you wanted to help out the channel, you can do in the form of bits and subs, and you can do YouTube and stuff as well. Fuck me, I fuck bollocks that up straight away. You can follow the channel, you can subscribe with Amazon Prime, you can give subs to the community, you can do bits messages. 200 bits or more will get you a text-to-speech. You can do super chats via the Streamlabs link below. $2 or more, they get you a text-to-speech. You can help me out on Facebook. No, you can't. You can help me out on... I'm so hungover. Fucking hell. You can help me out on Patreon and or PayPal. I've got Discord, Blue Sky, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, something. I don't know. You can, if you're on YouTube, hello YouTube, you can become a member for 99 pence and you get to hear the new sound/visual thing that I put up, hopefully. You can give memberships to the community, and you can do super chats, which I will read out, or not. I probably will, though. I probably will. Anyway, right. So we've got some sort of slop stuff second half, but what I did want to do is what we would regularly do. But we'll be done much quicker, because it'll just be me. We haven't...
Oiled like a baby otter.
There you go. Oiled like a baby otter. You're very welcome. Thank you too, says Thomas, for gifting a sub to Dominique Jones. I wonder if that's the former NBA player Dominique Jones. I do hope so. If so, well, welcome in, Dominique. Social media site for the UK is Nucked. This Threads, a social media site for UK, is Nucked. Is that a cry for help? I'm not sure. I don't know what that means. I would help out the channel, but I have 27 pence in my account until hopefully tomorrow, so please accept this death to America until then. Dr. Phil, you need not stretch yourself. I don't ever put yourself into any kind of financial trouble to help a streamer. Ever. Like, that's ridiculous. This is obviously like a frivolous expense. If you feel you want to and are able to, then you can. Anyhow, yes. So let's take a look at some award-winning gerbalism, and then we'll get onto some fun slop nonsense later. Yeah. Okie doke. And it'll be, related at least in part to American shite anyway, because obviously.
President Trump upends the
Oh,
goalpost.
yes, we've got an actual fucking journalist. Oh, dopeness. Yes. fuck yes. We've got an actual journalist rather than Laura fucking Kay. Brilliant. Awesome. We've got Vicky D instead of Laura Kay. Let's have it.
On
He even looks a cunt. Look at him. Fucking wanker.
Ukraine peace negotiations and tells Europe to step up on defence. Sir Keir Starmer says it's a once-in-a-generational moment for our national security. President Zelensky has said we can no longer take America's support for granted.
I really believe that time has come. The armed forces of Europe must be created.
What will all this mean for us?
I feel really bad for him. I feel genuinely really bad for Zelensky and for the entire nation of Ukraine. Because you're about to get sold down the river. Now, to be fair, I told you they were going to sell you down the river. I just thought it'd be Joe Biden and maybe a little bit later. But either way, I mean, the Americans were always going to fuck you over. America are only ever your friends as long as it's vaguely useful for them, and then you can go fuck yourselves. So that's, you know, that was always going to happen. But I feel really bad for him because there's nothing really you can do at this point. Like, he's obviously going to... They're already meeting with Russia without anybody else there in Saudi Arabia. Ukraine haven't been invited. None of the European nations have been invited. So it can't work then. This is literally like... They just had their Munich moment in Munich, and now they're literally doing a Munich. Which, for those who don't know, in 1938, 9, whatever... I'm trying to think which one it was. I think it was late 38, wasn't it? In the city of Munich, the home of the Nazi party to some extent. Although some would say Nuremberg. Anyway. Neville Chamberlain went and signed away part of Czechoslovakia without the Czechoslovaks even being there. And we're literally doing that. Well, I say we. The United States federal government is doing precisely that now in Saudi Arabia with Russia. How did it work out last time? Did appeasing them work? Did the dictator stop making aggressive moves and territorial claims? Or did it lead to the most devastating war in the history of our species? I think it was that one, wasn't it? Cool. Well, I am glad that there are no parallels. Although I do just want to say, just to nip it in the bud, just to nip this in the bud, I won't be having slander of Chamberlain this evening or at any other point. To compare Neville Chamberlain, who was wrong, clearly, historically, ethically, morally, perhaps even legally. Whatever. No, not perhaps. Definitely legally. Anyway. To compare him, who was wrong in a difficult situation, to Donald Trump and J.D. Vance and the fetid scum that currently comprises the United States executive branch of the federal government cabinet. To compare them to Chamberlain is a gross betrayal of Neville Chamberlain, who was a pretty righteous individual in some respects, a conservative, so let's not pretend I like him, but, you know, a noble enough man who tried his best and fucked up a bit. I think we can say that. But at least inevitably, at least he did eventually realise he fucked up and did declare war on Germany and send soldiers into France to protect France and Belgium and the Netherlands and into Norway as well. It didn't really work. Again, he did fuck things up, but you know. But at least he did, you know, eventually learn the lesson. Whereas this isn't like someone desperately trying to find the right answer. Donald Trump knows the wrong answer and wants to go with that. He is an actively malicious actor in this affair. He's not a noble, if flawed statesman trying his best in a difficult situation. He is a fascist enabler. He is a fascism fan, indeed. I don't know if you saw the unbelievably fascistic tweet he sent out the other day. Where are we? Where is it? I definitely did bookmark this. There's no way I didn't bookmark this. Hang on a minute. It is definitely worth showing you this, by the way, because this is about as cut and dried as it's going to get in terms of the way he sees it. Here we go. Here we go. So, he sent out the following. He who saves the country does not violate any law. Now, don't for a second fucking dare anyone say that this is I forget the Latin for it, but there's a thing about there's a legal principle that was it that is necessary is legal, right? Which is a genuine thing that does exist, whereby, for instance, if you see, say, like a gunman who's about to like gun people down, and you drive your car into them to stop them, technically that person has not aggressed against you, and yet you have murderized them with your car. But I think it's pretty reasonable for you to say, I had to do that to stop them from doing the thing, and so actually I saved, a dozen lives, and this evildoer got justice preemptively. So, that which is necessary is legal. That's not what he means here, clearly and obviously. What he means is, to quote Adolf Hitler, I am the law. Literally a thing he said in the Reichstag. Although technically not in the Reichstag, it was in the Kroll Opera House, because the Reichstag had been burned by the Nazis in order to usurp power. Anyway, this is fascism to its very core. Because the thing is, who decides what is saving the country? Who decides that? Well, the law decides that. The law decides what this means. The law, if you're going to have anything as a kind of stable point from which to decide that sort of thing, you would have the rule of law. When you take it upon yourself to say the thing I'm doing is necessary, or the thing I'm doing is right because inherently I'm doing it, because I'm a patriot, therefore everything I do is about saving the country, therefore everything I do is legal, is about as obviously fascist as it gets in terms of their approach to jurisprudence. It's absolute cornerstone fascist rhetoric. Completely and utterly. And he's now colluding with another fascist in order to carve up Ukraine. Terms of service stop me from saying what should happen to this human being. I'm not. We've gone with, I suppose, a Judge Dredd related thing. I am the left. Judge Cheng. Thank you, Miss Hire. You've somewhat thrown me off the point, but actually, it's a perfectly reasonable thing. He thinks he is Judge Dredd. There's a reason that Judge Dredd is meant as a warning, an allegory of a dystopia, rather than as like a how-to on good governance. Where are we?
Here in the UK. Live in the studio is the Business and Trade Secretary, Jonathan Reynolds.
Wanker!
And from the Munich Security Conference, we'll hear from the Shadow
Smug
Foreign
wanker!
Secretary, Priti Patel. And from brain implants to artificially changing the weather, Laura's been speaking to the man who is backing some of the most improbable scientific ideas, Ilan Gore, who's the head of the government's new research institute.
I think we can skip that one. I'll be honest with you, chat. There's always one bit of, like, absolute shit on this fucking television show, and it's this. We're not watching this bit, okay? It's not happening.
It has a chance to catalyze not just world-changing technologies.
Oh, guy's American as well. Oh, Jesus. Speaking of America, before we get into it, there's been a little bit of friction recently between America and Canada. What with the current head of the executive branch of the federal government of the United States threatening to annex Canada. Anyway, the Canadian and American hockey teams, ice hockey teams, not field hockey, not proper hockey, ice hockey. I like both. Yeah. Anyway, they played a game. I'll be honest with you, with the tensions running high, my expectations were not great. My expectations were not like super high for how well this would go. And yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Warrant Officer Letty Blue of the Royal Canadian Air Force Band.
Straight away, man. Didn't miss a fucking beat. Last No, I look, I will say this. I have always been against the booing of national anthems as a general rule. When England fans do it and it's like Ghana. What the fuck have you got against Ghana, you pricks? Why are you booing them? That's just disrespectful. Whereas, you know what? I think the United States has earned a little slice of disrespect. I'm just saying. Play silly games, win silly prizes. I like how the boos went up. When he went up for the high note, they started booing more. Now, you're thinking to yourself, okay. A bit of silly banter before you get going and all of that. Like the professionals, some of the best hockey players on earth, right? They're going to take that on the chin. They're not going to cause any crazy shenanigans or anything like that. No, they're just going to play a professional, worthwhile game of hockey. Honest.
Matthew Tkachuk and Brandon Hagel.
2 seconds. 2 seconds. It took them 2 seconds to throw down gloves and start trying to punch each other in the fucking face. Let's go! 2 seconds. They had no intention of trying to play. I mean, to be fair, shit fight. Shit fight, really. Not a lot going on there. It's a bit grapply and a bit, frankly, a little bit gay, and not in a good way.
Did not see this coming.
What do you mean you didn't see it coming, you prick? They were booing really loudly. What are you talking about? Look at those Canadians. Fuck yes.
Hagel skated away as he got back up, imploring the crowd to get even more vocally involved if that's possible.
That is intense.
And this start, if you can call it that.
It's not a start. It's 2 fucking seconds. That you can't complete a fart in the amount of time it took them to start fighting.
Little chat at the start. Hagel and Matthew Tkachuk drop right off the hop. And I'm telling you, Sean, I'm standing down here, and I think there's zero chance that we see the puck hit the ice for more than 1 second before we're going to see both Tkachuk brothers sitting in the same penalty box.
Yeah, I think that's a good bet. It's a good bet. Yeah, they get 5 minutes to sit down. And you know what? I think that's a really good rule. I think we need that in life, right? If both sides agree to it, you get to punch fuck out of each other. And then as soon as you hit the deck, refs come and separate you, right? So that you don't want people getting badly hurt. Then you both have to go and sit in a box and calm down for 5 minutes. and then you can go about your business. I think we need this rule in real life. I think it would relieve a lot of stress. And again, it's mutual. You can't just go up and start punching people for no rules, but like, mutually agreed upon. And you can just you wail on each other. Fuck it, yeah. And then you sit down, cool off for 5 minutes, go about your business. Piece of piss. I think we'd be a lot more chill. So, 19 minutes 58 still remaining in the first. Let's see how far they get into the game before they fight again.
Match the United States physicality brings a lot of grit, a lot of sandpaper. This was set.
1 second. Right. Literally 1 second.
Right before the first Kachuk fight, this was set
1 second.
Here you go.
They've currently had 3 seconds of the game and 2 fights. They have had nearly as many seconds as they have had fights. That is a stiff dick of poop. Quite so, Fogel. It is a stiff dick of poop. You're quite correct. Unbelievable. Fuck yes. Thank you to Sundry Clowncar for gifting a community sub, and thank you, Vogel, for... You get the idea. So I'm calling the first one a draw. This one,
Bennett in the lineup for the first time. Brady gets the better of this one.
I'm calling that one a draw as well, if I'm honest. There were a couple of decent jabs, but nothing major, you know?
8 years a teammate of Matthew Kachuk in both Calgary and the last 3 in Florida.
Look at that. They're not even pretending they want to fucking play. Let's go. Come on in.
The first face-off was about to hit the ice. Brady Kachuk yelled across to Bennett, and he said, "Hey, Benny, after this, we're going." And so the change was made. Bennett jumped on the ice, and 3 seconds, 2 fights, and we thought it would be a wild night here in Montreal. We're off to this start.
Well,
now, surely they're not going to carry on fighting. Surely not. That would be silly. That would be ridiculous.
After the game against Finland about the booing of the U.S. anthem, he said, "I don't like it." Team USA said...
I love that. The Conservatives are going, but no one in Canada wants to boo the Finnish or Norwegian, or was it Norwegian? Whatever, I don't give a fuck. The Finnish and Swedish anthems. And you're like, yeah, because neither of those countries are threatening to invade and annex that fucking country, yeah. Yeah, people are more likely to boo you if you threaten war against them. Crazy, I know.
They use it as a motivator. Coaches and players on both sides said they hoped it wouldn't happen tonight. It did. It's helped set the tone. Charlie Mack.
There we go.
Now we're 9 seconds in.
To be fair, this time they got us 6 seconds in. We are now 9 seconds into the game and a third fight has broken out.
Seconds in, another one, 1 second
oh, the
later.
Canadians got him. Oh, the Canadians got him. He's literally ragdolling him now. His helmet's come off. Yeah, look how much shorter he is, though. Look at the... Oh, he's got no chance, the little lad.
Like 1996, when this building opened up with the World Cup.
Fuck yes. Canada 1-0 there. Nailed it, bro.
That was the last time the United States won the major best-on-best international competition. 1996 here.
Technically, that's a bit of hockey that broke out briefly. It was a shot on goal and everything.
And he described it
didn't last long. 9 seconds, 3 fights.
He was, and his boys are tonight. Miller had his gloves off. He was looking at Fort Parayko as the puck was cut.
Amazing. Now, America did go on to win 3-1, but literally, who gives a fuck? The fighting's amazing. I love that shit. They've got specific rules about how and when you can punch each other in the fucking face. Love it. Love it. Anyway, so, some tension between the North American neighbours. We'll see how that goes.
But sort of the next $1 trillion, £1 trillion industries for the UK.
Good morning. Welcome to the programme.
God,
I'm Victoria,
Richard
standing in for
Tice.
Laura this morning. And with you, with us for the next hour, Adrian Ramsey, co-leader of the Green Party of England and Wales.
Fuck yes.
Richard Tice, deputy leader of Reform UK. And Karen von Hippel, formerly a senior advisor in the US State Department and until recently ran the defence and security think tank RUSI. Welcome.
Probably a wanker then, I imagine. We've got a fisher in chat, everybody. We've got a fisher. Oh, well, no, the fish has been reeled in. It's all good. Thank you, Bilderberg, for gifting a sub to 255 AD. If we get to level 2 of the hype train, I will put it to the YouTube as to who I finger. Which particular fascist I finger. A finger, a fudge for a fascist, a finger. What? I don't know. What the fuck does that mean?
Emmanuel Macron donated $3. Listen here, Kev. My countrymen boo the national anthem because they don't like my policies. Maybe the French are made different.
True. True. Have France thought about setting their national anthem on fire? Because that seems like a very French response to things, is to burn it. So, like, I wonder if that would happen. I'm not sure. But anyway, thank you, Emmanuel, for your £3. Much love. I don't get that meme 255, so I'm just going to ignore it. Thank you. While on Hype Train, want to check the Reddit link. Is there a Reddit link? Did you link a Reddit thing? Oh, I should just go to the fucking... anyway. It's pinned. Your fucking dad is pinned to my fucking bedroom wall. That's weird. That's the weird thing to say. JD Vance... unamused with Scottish laws. Okay. So this is JD Vance being a cunt. Cool. For fuck's sake, why is it always like automated mute? Why would I want it to be muted?
In Scotland, it's actually illegal to shag a couch in your own home. I don't know if you've seen this, but they send out letters to people saying, we can put you in jail for shagging a couch that you've paid for. Outright. With cash.
With cash.
Not allowed to shag a couch. I'm raging.
I'm raging. Yes. It's the nanny state. It's the nanny state. Woke DEI CRT gone mad. Is what it is. A man's couch is his castle. And he can fuck his castle if he wants to.
To you all. Thank you for being with us. Let's have a look at what's making the news this morning. The Observer leads on the Prime Minister Keir Starmer heading to Paris for that crisis summit.
Yeah, so Ukraine. France are holding all the European nations are going to get together and decide, like, can we actually do anything? Like, have you thought about standing up to America in any way whatsoever, lads? That would be my go-to. Is to not bend over backwards for Trump, you fucking spineless cunts. Then you wouldn't need an emergency crisis meeting in France. Yeah.
While the Mail on Sunday splashes on comments by a former army chief, Lord Dannatt, telling the BBC yesterday if the Prime Minister doesn't increase defence spending, he'll be heading to the dustbin of history. The Sunday Times reports that...
Oh, that's okay. That's just the head of the UK Army threatening the elected leader of the nation. That's fine. That's very normal, totally not Banana Republic stuff. Good.
Starmer will overrule his Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, to get her to increase defence spending. And the Sunday Express has a poll that suggests British people are living in fear when it comes to the economy. Right, let's go straight to the BBC's chief international correspondent, Lise Doucette, who is in Munich at the security conference. I mean, it's been a dramatic few days, Lise. Where does it leave Ukraine, though?
Dramatic few days here in Munich, Victoria.
I believe it leaves them up shit creek. Is where it leaves them.
One is describing this Munich Security Conference, the 61st in its history, as truly historic. The only comparison they say is the one in 2007, the only time when the Russian leader Vladimir Putin came here and warned Europe. Now, fast forward to 2025, literally, to use a Munich metaphor, the Europeans, the Ukrainians feel they are being left out in the cold, that the United States under President Donald Trump are pushing ahead with a highly personalized, take it or leave it diplomacy, which is leaving the Europeans. We're told here that the talks that are set to take place first in Riyadh, and we're not sure yet what level they'll be at. There's talk of a summit between President Putin and President Trump. And the Americans said here to the Europeans, don't expect that you will be involved. And Ukraine is feeling that it's not being allowed to negotiate its own future.
And so what are the Europeans saying about this being left out of the consultations, the negotiations?
Honestly, Donald
that
Trump
look
is
like
an enemy
next week?
of freedom. It's as simple as that.
Well, I think if there's any slivers of light here, Victoria, it is that this is a defining moment for Europe. They heard from President Trump during his first term, and indeed they've heard from many American presidents, that the Europeans had to spend much more on their own defence. That message has now been heard loud and clear. Every European leader I spoke to here said they understand and they will do it.
No, they'll pretend to do it like they did for the first 4 years and then forget about it because, like, it's just Donald Trump being a cunt.
What they didn't expect is that they are being handed a plan, literally handed a plan, but what actually they're being handed ideas. There's a sense that there is no
It's
plan.
a concept
They're
of a plan.
Contradictory ideas from the United States, and there is simply too much at risk for the Europeans. This morning...
What's this, sorry? I know it won't happen, but what would happen if the US and EU go along with whatever... Hang on. Refuse to go along with what... Oh, okay. What would happen? America could just withdraw funding, and the Ukrainian front would collapse. Because, like, we're not going to fucking stomp up all that money. Like, the Europeans between them can, like... Can cover some of it, but we're not going to be able to fund that on our own. So, like, yeah, basically, he can just fucking completely pull the spending. Even if, in theory, that's illegal, he's already shown that he doesn't care. Literally, I mean, you just saw the fascist tweet thing, you know, that he put out. He is the law now. Whatever he decides is good for the country means it's legal. Regardless of the fact that virtually everything he's ever signed has either been irrelevant or illegal. Like, I didn't even realise this. One of the presidential decrees he put out, the executive orders, was to pull all federal funding from schools that have mandatory COVID vaccine thing, right? Except the small problem with that, though, Donald, there isn't a single school in the entirety of America that has such a mandate. Look, not one. 4 years after it happened. Kind of seems like they're talking shit. And this is the thing that these fucking liberals don't get. They're so smug and think themselves above it. I saw some people responding to J.D. Vance's speech at this Munich conference, right? Which he was a sack of shit and told loads of lies and all the rest of it. And they went, this is what happens when he thinks he's just going to speak to like a Fox News crowd, whereas actually it's sophisticated Europeans and diplomats and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, okay, but J.D. Vance and Donald Trump are never not speaking to their base. Doesn't matter where they are in the world, who their immediate audience is in front of them, whether it's the press, whether it's other diplomats, whether it's the United Nations, it doesn't matter where they are or what they're doing. They're only ever speaking to their base. They don't give a fuck if you think they're an idiot. The disrespect is mutual. They think you're like an evil liberal who's eating baby brains, right? They couldn't give a fuck, though. They're only ever speaking to Billy Bob back home. They're speaking to the base. That's it.
I don't want to do this anymore.
Didn't scare me. Didn't even scare me, Goldbridge. Suck a dick. Suck a dick. By the way, we've got more Man United fans squealing because they lost again today. Oh, thank you, Carl Brown. Hi Kev, hope you're doing well. I am doing well, Carl. Thank you, you fucking legend.
In the Grand Bayerhof behind me, the European Union's foreign policy chief, Kaja Kallas, convened a meeting of European ministers to decide what to do next. And then there's this emergency summit called by Emmanuel Macron of France for Europe, literally for European...
Friend of the show. Donator to the show, Emmanuel Macron.
...to get their act together, to come up with a plan that Europe feels protects Europe, protects Ukraine, and
oh, did you see? Oh, sorry, hang on. Hello there, Boy Meets Minnie. Everyone go and follow Boy Meets Minnie. I don't know if you saw. You might be interested in this, as an Indian chap yourself. I don't know if you saw when Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of India, was recently at the White House with Donald Trump. They had an interpreter because Narendra Modi's first language is not English, and Donald Trump doesn't really have a language as such, so they have to have like a Trump whisperer to tell him things. And literally, the interpreter was interpreting into plain English for Donald Trump the things Narendra Modi was saying, because presumably Donald Trump couldn't understand because he had an Indian accent what he was saying. So the fucking translator guy was having to translate English into English for Donald Trump. So, he's so racist, he can't even speak his own language if it's in a foreign accent. America has never been more cooked than it currently is, okay? It is like... It's not just cooked, it's like burned all the way through now. It is crispy. It is smouldering. That's how badly cooked it is. Unbelievable.
Is left of what is the root, the motto that's this whole conference, the whole world order, what they want to be seen to be rooted in.
Yeah, Modi does speak better English than Trump, yeah. That's probably what the translator was having to do, dumb it down into words of 2 syllables or less.
Based
like, Narendra Modi, fascist piece of shit, and I hope terms of service happens, but, like, he can speak English perfectly well. It's just Donald Trump is such a racist prick that he hadn't got a clue what was going on. Or maybe he just needs someone next to him to go, breathe in, breathe out. Because you might fucking forget otherwise, you know?
Order and this transatlantic partnership, which now seems to be in pieces.
Thank you very much, Lise. Lise Doucette live from Munich from the security conference. So America's diplomatic approach in the past week has left Europe's leaders and military chiefs reeling, as you were just hearing from Lise.
If there is one funny thing about Donald Trump fucking everyone over right now, it's the fact that the Conservatives in Canada have like collapsed. Because Poilievre is such a weird little fascist fucking dick rider of Trump, that the fact that Trump's now like super like anti-Canada and we're going to invade and put 1,000,000% tariffs on everything, and you know maple syrup is of the devil or whatever, I don't fucking know. And Trudeau having stepped aside as well helps, because no one wants to vote for that cunt. The fucking Conservative voters collapsed. And it looks very likely that they might not now win, which would be very, very funny.
Lost Ukraine. His vice president attacked European leaders for ignoring voters' concerns over free speech. There's so much to talk about this morning. Karen von Hippel, just how significant
That's not a real name.
Have the last few days been?
Well, I think the conference itself has been a wake-up call, as people have been saying. At the same time, I would urge everyone to stay calm. The Europeans and the United Kingdom together have spent far more, actually, than the Americans have in Ukraine. Not militarily. The Americans have contributed the most militarily.
So not then. So stop lying. What? Just... Have you ever seen someone expose their own lie straight away? Have you ever seen someone tell a lie and then the very next thing they say totally exposes the lie of the thing they just said? Yeah, no, they've spent more in Ukraine. Not militarily, of course, but on, like, stationary equipment and sex arses. They've spent far more on sex arses than America has. So, you know, like, but the military spending is the fucking thing, dickhead. What are you talking about? They're fighting a war. Military spending is the thing that needs to be spent on right now, in order to, you know, try and win, or at least not fucking lose. What are you expecting them to spend money on? Fucking transport, or like fucking, oh, well, maintenance of the canal network. What the fuck? What is wrong with you? Fuck's sake. Also, look at that name. Carrion von Hippel is definitely like, I mean, I know a lot about the Second World War, but I don't know every single like weird little general twat, right? Definitely there was a fucking Waffen SS general called Carrion von Hippel. I guarantee it. Von being the prefix to denote someone of aristocratic background in German. There's definitely Carrion von Hippel. Almost certainly. They were involved in, I don't know, the massacre of Belgrade or something. Right, no, don't get me wrong. I know there is a lot of non-military support that's going in. But the thing that would be like devastating for Ukraine is if that military spending gets cut off. They can sustain their own sovereignty with planes and tanks and guns and bombs. They can't do with, you know, hospital equipment or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, there's what they actually need in order to not be taken over by Russia is tanks. And if America cuts off all of those tanks, they're fucked. And the Britain and France and all these countries, they're not going to be able to fucking make up that difference. I don't think. Certainly not on top of what they're already spending. Like, we've already increased it. You know, Britain's going to spend £4.5 billion on Ukraine this year. Considering they were only planning on saving £1.5 billion from freezing all of those pensioners. They're not going to save anywhere near that amount. It's going to be fucking hundreds of millions at best. But their plan was to only save £1.5 billion for freezing the pensioners. And yet we're spending £4.5 billion. There's no way any government could possibly sustain the situation in the UK of spending double or triple or quadruple that amount to try and make up that difference. They'd be brought down instantly. Germany is about to screw Russia with this. I don't know, man. Having just mentioned the Waffen SS, I don't know if I want to watch a video about Americans screwing Russia. It's a bit on the nose. It's a little bit Barbarossa, if you know what I'm saying.
Militarily, and especially advanced weapons. But if the Europeans are going to be expected to contribute troops and contribute funds to a peace process afterwards, they need to be at the table. If it's about Ukraine, the Ukrainians need to be at the table. So if they speak with one voice, I do think the Americans will listen. We saw that with Marco Rubio in Gaza just the other day. He backtracked on a lot of this peace plan that President Trump had been pushing because there was such an outcry against it.
Richard Tice, what do you think of President Trump's approach and the
I
approach
don't think
of
we
his
should
team?
be...
I think Donald Trump's awesome. Nosh, 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 nosh.
Surprised. I mean, he's actually got an election mandate to try and secure some form of peace negotiations.
No, he had an election mandate to get it over with in one day. He said literally, give me 1 day, I can get this over with. I can have a peace deal in 1 day, is what he said. He's been in for a month now. And they're only just getting around to maybe starting talks that don't even involve one of the countries that's at war. Also, he said that he was going to bring the price of eggs down, and they're now at record highs. But they did rename the Gulf of Mexico, so... And Mount McKinley. Can we get some lols in chat for McKinley being killed? Because that is hilarious. Old news, but still hilarious.
He said he could sort it out very quickly. So we shouldn't be surprised that he's embarking on this. And
but what about some of the detail that's coming out? Yes, he campaigned on it, absolutely.
But you see, everybody assumes that he will negotiate in the traditional way. He doesn't. What the Americans under Trump's administration does...
That's true. That's so true. He doesn't negotiate in the normal way. He gives up everything before the negotiations even start. He literally says... He's literally the poker player that literally shows you what he has in his hand and then continues to bet. He's a genius. It's 4D chess.
Completely differently. Everything gets thrown on the table. Pieces get moved around. Everything's up for grabs. And they almost revel in the fact that they can be inconsistent between different ministers, different members of his administration, whereas we get concerned over here that, oh, that means there's a split here and there. They revel in that. That's
I said, can we have some lulls for President McKinley being assassinated, please? All of the hottest news from 1904, or whenever the fuck it happened. Look at me, look at me. It was hilarious.
Part of their negotiating tactics. I actually think President Trump will be delighted that the European leaders are having a massive wake-up call, getting their act together, and yes, we've all got to spend more on defence. That's the reality. That's what he's always said and stood for.
Adrian Ramsey, what do you think?
Okay, but how much of a cuck are you? The American president tells us we have to spend more on defence, and you're like, yeah, no, that's fine. The guy who wasn't elected here to do anything, the literal unelected foreign bureaucrat, gets to dictate what our foreign policy is, or our defence policy is. Like, are you even allowed in the cuck chair? Are you like, do they make you sit on the floor? You can't even sit in the cuck chair. You have to wait in the fucking hallway.
Well, we're 3 years into this horrific Russian attack on Ukraine, and we desperately need to see an end to the bloodshed, to people losing their lives. And of course, an end of a war has to mean negotiation, but it's a negotiation that must have Ukraine front and centre so that they get a fair deal.
Are you confident they will be front and centre?
Well, I'm really concerned about whether they will, given that what Trump is saying and what's at risk here.
Oh, 1901, I was close then.
Ukraine and Europe at the threat of future Russian aggression. And what really concerns me about Trump's approach is whether he's giving the same attention to the needs of Ukraine as to Russia. And what I'd ask Reform Limited is, will you stand up to Trump?
Reform Limited! Hotcha! It just knocked you the fuck out, Tice. Boom!
And say, and very clearly, that Ukrainian people have got to be round the table.
I've stood up for Ukraine from the very beginning. I've donated, I've driven to Ukraine, taken...
I've donated! I put £2 sterling into a collection tin. So, fuck you. That means I'm fine now to now support the guy who's trying to give Ukraine away to Russia. Yeah. No, I gave a £5 for a raffle for the Ukrainians, and therefore I think it's okay to support the Donbass People's Republic. Fuck me. I've driven to Ukraine. Yeah, why didn't you fucking stay there, you cunt? Fuck's sake. Ugh. Why did he get assassinated? Do you mean McKinley? I'm not entirely sure. I think it was an anarchist that killed him, so it was just like propaganda of the deed, I would imagine. Will Nick Robinson appear and shove a burger in Ramsey's face? Well, it would not be an Adrian Ramsey on the BBC Experience if Nick Robinson wasn't like hanging around with random pieces of fast food to kind of probe into his general space, you know. Did you give that £5 the lady gave you to Ukraine gift? No, it was to the first charity shop that came across, which I think was Help the Aged. I suppose appropriately then, given that I had helped the aged. I helped the aged twice in that endeavour. He got vintage Luigi'd, yeah. Exactly, that he was the original. The original. Oh, it was that Leon Trollgosh guy. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of that going around. A lot of anarchists killing people and shit. Didn't really work out for them, unfortunately. But they did make a bit of, they made a fucking splash.
Supplies. So I'm not seeing any lessons from anybody saying, we are very strongly supportive of Ukraine, and of course,
I'll not be taking any lessons.
No, they will have to be central to any deal that may or may not be concluded.
But they haven't even been invited. Central, you're a fucking clown.
Okay, shutting them out. That's the real risk here, isn't it?
We've got much more time to come back to this through the programme. Thank you for the moment.
Ramsey did okay
before we get
there.
to the business secretary, Jonathan Reynolds, who will tell us...
Ramsey just did a lot more journalism in holding Reform's feet to the fire than all of the media class have done at all so far.
The government's position, a reminder of how dramatic a week it's been.
We must start by recognizing that returning to Ukraine's pre-2014 borders is an unrealistic objective.
I think we're on the way to getting peace. I think President Putin wants peace.
There is a new sheriff in town.
Really? He wants peace. Why did he do the war then?
And under Donald Trump's leadership, we may disagree with your views.
The United States does not believe that NATO membership for Ukraine is a realistic outcome of a negotiated settlement.
We had a good talk with President Putin. I had a good talk with President Zelensky. Very good talk.
The threat that I worry the most about vis-a-vis Europe is
the couch thing. Yeah.
Not Russia, it's not China, it's the threat from within.
Yeah, of course, babe.
So how should the UK respond? Let's talk to Jonathan Reynolds, the Business and Trade Secretary. Good morning to you, Mr. Reynolds.
The only threat to within for you, JD Vance, are the gay feelings that you're repressing. But the eyeliner tells me everything.
So, overnight, an emergency summit of European leaders, which is coming next week, Sir Keir Starmer has said this is a once-in-a-generational moment for European security. Why?
Well, first
because
of all,
Donald Trump is a fucking lunatic.
The US president wants to see an end to the conflict. We all want to see that. Very much agree that has to include Ukraine. That is the position of the UK government. There will be no durable peace without involvement of European partners, particularly the Ukrainians, as part of that. What the US has said repeatedly and has been a part of their programme,
yeah, I saw that too,
is they would like to see Europe make a greater contribution to the collective defence of Europe. I think everyone recognises there is a reasonability behind that. So that is how Europe has to respond. I believe we in the UK can play a part as that bridge between the US and Europe as we adjust to this new era, and it certainly is a new era. But I think it would be wrong to portray this as some sort of fundamental breach. There is still a great deal of common ground between the US and its European allies. We must play our part in strengthening that.
What can this European summit achieve then when the Americans and the Russians
Fuck all.
appear to be deciding everything for themselves in talks in Saudi Arabia next week?
Well, what the US will want is not just an end to the fighting. Like ourselves, they'll want a durable peace plan to be in place.
This separate meeting of European leaders, what can be achieved with that?
No way. Elliot, have you got a link for that? Because that sounds funny.
We are going to need to respond, as people who live on the European continent, to this request from the US for a greater contribution.
We don't live on the European continent. We voted to leave. Okay? The Brexit I voted for means that we literally are on a different landmass now. We're on we created our own tectonic plate and everything. Shut up. Red, white and blue tectonic Brexit.
Collective security. I think we have to recognise that has been a US aspiration for some time. It is certainly a part of the agenda of this administration. We have always been a leading defence power in the UK. We have an interest as well in seeing not only Europe make that contribution. I think there's a whole range of things we should be doing to make sure our industrial and defence base is as it needs to be to meet this new
What industrial
challenge.
base?
But again, we will make sure we are building that relationship, strengthening that relationship between the US and Europe. Don't portray this as some sort of attempt to fundamentally breach what has been one of the most effective and important defensive alliances in history.
I mean, I'm not trying to portray it as anything. I'm just trying to understand what appears to be the new world order. And
yeah, like, there's no point pretending we can just do with a special relationship, people. No, he's literally saying, oh, we're going to put tariffs on you. And if you don't do exactly what we say, then we're going to fucking destroy you. 51st state, ha 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 ha. Fucking embarrassing. Honestly, the lack of any kind of spine on any of these politicians is disgraceful.
Appears that the UK and the Europeans are not even at the table when it comes to discussing negotiations over how the war in Ukraine will end.
Okay, that one did scare me a little bit. It's honestly, it's hit and miss. It's hit and miss with Goldberg, not Goldberg. Fuck's sake, Goldbridge. It's hit and miss with Goldbridge. Sometimes he gets me, sometimes he doesn't. It's impossible to know. Thank you, Flint, who says bread, wine, and pubes. Sounds like a fucking cool Sunday night, mate. Let's go.
This Defence Secretary has also said that everything is still on the table. We shouldn't rule out potential outcomes.
Yeah, everything's on the table, but you're not there.
Well, look, for a peace settlement to be durable, it will simply have to have the involvement of European nations and the Ukrainians themselves. There's been an incredible contribution from Europe alongside the US to the defence of Ukraine. And ultimately, look, the president is someone who likes to win, and winning would not be rewarding a war of aggression.
Right, so why do you think President Trump...
But he literally is. That's literally what he is doing. Like, are they all just going to put their head in the sand and go like, let's just pretend Trump isn't doing and saying the exact things that he's doing and saying. Let's just say, no, it would be, you know, it's bad. We shouldn't be cool with Putin, whilst he literally goes over there and fucking rims his arsehole in Saudi Arabia, which, by the way, I'm sure is a crime in Saudi Arabia. But yeah. So like, it's super appeasement, because it's like saying, let's just pretend he didn't invade the Sudetenland. We'll just say, no, it's bad. People shouldn't invade the Sudetenland, as he literally marches in, and just go, yeah, no, our position is that invading the Sudetenland is bad, actually. And that's it. And then they just ignore it. They're not even giving it away. They're just allowing him to throw it away and not even acknowledging that it's happening. What are they even going to talk about tomorrow in Paris? What are they going to fucking talk about? Just pretend that Trump isn't a massive cunt? What?
That Pete Hegseth, the US Defence Secretary, said earlier in the week, Ukraine won't be in NATO and Ukraine will have to give up some of its territory.
Well, look, again, he has also said he's not ruling anything out. That's their position that they've outlined in terms of the immediate short term.
That's not a position!
But I would say, surely we would all recognise, peace requires a guarantee of that peace settlement, of security, of a peace guarantee going forward. We will all have to play a part in that.
OK. You talked a little earlier about Sir Keir Starmer being a bridge between the US and Europe. How? How's he going to do that?
Well, look, there is...
Well, his dad was a tool maker, so building a bridge shouldn't be a problem for him.
Definitely, from the new US administration, a view towards Europe, and there's a slightly different view towards ourselves in the UK. Both markets, both allies will always be fundamentally important to us, but I do think we can play a constructive role in this.
Oh, this is fucking
easy.
pathetic.
There's a very assertive agenda from the US, but we,
this
in terms
is
of our contribution to defence,
this is so pathetic. This is what happens. This is what fucking happens when you elect, like, soulless, empty suit centrists during a time of, like, actual international crisis. They're so out of their fucking depth. When it's not just, like, technocratic something, they're fucked. If you can't set up a Quango for it, they're fucked. Maybe that's what it is tomorrow. This is their equivalent of a Quango. They're going to go there to do the cross-European Quango and file a report, and nothing happens. And they just give up Ukraine anyway. It's fucking pathetic, honest to God. Jonathan Reynolds, unironically, is the bricks that lead to that pave the road to fascism. This kind of technocratic, tinkering at the edges, spineless, ballless ghouls.
Stop it. Get some help.
Thank you, Wayward Historian. The legend of legends. 48 months. Fuck yes. No NJ. No Justice of the MTGs is has gone stateside. Now, if Donald Trump happens to, you know, have an accident during the time that she is in America, I can guarantee you it will not have been her that did that, and that she didn't go there with that intention at all. And you can't prove anything. NRA. Not NRA. What's it called? Oh, fuck. The NRA is the fucking rifle people, isn't it? The gun cunts. Yeah, anyway, the whatever. National something. There's NSA is the one I'm thinking of, isn't it? Fuck! Oh, that would have been really good. Bollocks. Fucking kill me. Kill me, NSA.
Of our economic relationships with the United States, these are important relationships, and I think we've got a chance to play a constructive role.
How?
Well, first of all, if you look at key people in the administration, they've got certain views towards the European Union. I deal with trade, obviously, where there is a grievance on the US side. At the big deficits in goods trade the US has with the EU, as well, of course, as with China. We don't have that. China. They see us in a different light. It doesn't mean it'll be plain sailing for us. We've got some difficult things to agree upon. But they recognise the relationship is different. They recognise our approach to key areas of the future, like AI, is a different one to the European Union. So we've got a different way, and we can play a role that is in our national interest, but I think also strengthens that Western relationship as well.
But there appear to be differences
Pablum.
on Ukraine.
Fucking Pablum.
Well, I would go back to what we all have a common interest in achieving, which is peace, an end to the war.
Absolute pointless wank. This. At what point on the road to fascism do you ever take a position? On the road to fascism, on the road to totalitarianism and might makes right evil, what point do you ever take a fucking stand? Labour Party, I'm begging you, grow a pair of bollocks, please.
But in a durable way that gives us the chance to rebuild Ukraine, safe and prosperous future for everyone on the European continent.
Yeah. One thing the Europeans might be able to do without the Americans is a peacekeeping force. But this week, a former head of the army told the BBC that our forces here in the UK have been hollowed out. Does the UK have the troops, have the numbers to support Ukraine if it comes to a peacekeeping force along that massive front line, which is about 1,000 miles?
It would be a huge task, wouldn't it? I mean, first of all, we've always said we'll play our part in any process. It's hypothetical at the minute without a deal on the table. I don't shy away from the fact that if you look at the state of the armed forces in the UK...
Why did it not... It didn't fucking do anything the first time. And then the second time, and that one made me fucking shite my pants again. Thank you, Flint. I remember the good old days when we would argue in chat about the best cheese. Now it's all existential. I don't remember the cheese-based arguments. What was the... Remind me, Flint / old heads. The old frogs in chat. What was the cheese-related? I don't remember there being a fromage fracas in chat at all. I can't get enough of Goldbridge. Well, you know what? As an ex-police officer, I've had more than enough of him already. Cunt. I wonder if the highlights are up yet, by the way. I don't know.
The 14 years of the last government.
Should we have a look? I don't know how quickly they can get those up. Spurs United reaction. Wow, they move fucking quickly, man. Although that's only a small selection. No, we need the 20-minute long ones. Yeah, no, we'll wait. We'll wait for the proper ones to come. No, we'll do it tomorrow.
Like many public services, they are not in a good condition. I don't think we should downplay the tremendous capacities that we do have, but we'll have to make sure that our armed forces are ready to face a whole range of threats in the future, which at present I think we'd all recognise there's a lot more to do on.
Let's talk about defence spending. It's also top of the agenda along with all the other things we've discussed. Your government says it's committed to eventually spending 2.5% of GDP on defence this week.
Can we get some ACABs in chat? Yeah, he was a police officer. I don't know which particular ethnic minority he decided to hate on most, or whether he was involved in the whole rape and domestic violence scene in the police force. I can't say that, I don't know, but given that he's a police officer, statistically, Likely.
Again, US Defense Secretary said the US is no longer primarily focused on European security. When are you actually going to hit the 2.5% target?
Well, we'll set out the roadmap for that in the spending review. We've always made that commitment. I did have a substantial increase in defence spending in the last budget, £3 billion. We had the biggest pay rise for the armed forces in 20 years. Absolutely essential to tackling the recruitment of people into the armed forces.
You're going to publish a roadmap.
Yes.
A roadmap. So can you give us any indication of when
to the spending review for that? But
do you
we
not think it's a bit more urgent?
Well, I think you have to do these things in relation to the other incredible pressures you have on public services and the health of the economy. But the need to generate the revenue is why we are so focused on addressing some of the difficult things the UK has avoided for a long period of time, to get the revenue in order to do that. But I would also say the strategic defence review is a key part of this as well. There are countries that actually spend sometimes less than us and have greater capabilities. So yes, how much you're putting in is important, what you're spending it on. And for me, the defence sector, which plays a key role in our economy, it's part of our industrial strategy, making sure we've got the industrial base for this right is an important priority as well.
But I mean, you can't obviously you can't even say we'll get to 2.5% even in this Parliament. We're just going to get a roadmap.
Well, I can't say we've only ever hit that kind of defence spending under Labour governments. It is an integral thing to what we seek to deliver.
Do you think we need to go further than 2.5%?
In that, well, it's careful what you're covering in that. Sometimes the US criteria covers things like the security services, which we have a major contribution to. We don't actually count towards the targets in relation to that. So take the national security contribution overall, but everyone in the cabinet, everyone in the government, I think most people in this country recognise that the pressure we face on defence as we enter this difficult new era, and we're keen to meet that challenge.
Okay, sorry.
I honestly, he's the most fucking pointless human being. Has he said anything of worth whatsoever? Has he said anything that was fucking interesting, worthwhile, profound, not fucking skull-crushingly tedious? Anything? Anything at all? I'm not sure. Well, clearly cheddar is the best fucking cheese. Don't even start with your weird fucking Dutch cheeses. We don't need your Dutch cheeses. Actually, I quite like Gouda. I'll be honest. Like, I do this fucking bullshit about like, oh, the French this and all that. I like a bit of, I like a smelly continental cheese on occasion. I tell you what, I like a little Greek goat's cheese. A little bit of feta. Love it. Honestly, other than the really rank, like rotten cheese, the cheese is difficult to fuck up. Just don't put bits in it. Don't put chives in it.
I don't want to do this anymore.
Fuck off, Goldbridge, you cunt. Don't put chives in it. Don't put fucking fruit in it. Honestly, that gets the wall, right? Just make cheese and then put it between two slices of bread with some butter. Fuck yes. You can't go wrong.
I'm not clear. We spend 2.3% of GDP on defence at the moment. You said there'll be a roadmap to 2.5%, and I'm asking you, do you think we need to go more than 2.5%?
Well, look, let's set out that roadmap to 2.5%. We will always have to make decisions on defence spending in relation to the threats, and the strategic defence review is important to make sure you're aligning the money you are spending with...
You know that it's going to be a joint crisis meeting tomorrow between the EU and NATO. What's the point of that? Hang on, NATO are going to be at the crisis meeting. But that means that America's going to fucking be there. And the whole point is, surely, of this crisis meeting is, how do we get around the fact that America are now cunts? Well, they're always cunts. But, like, they're being especially cunty and trying to destroy a corner of Europe and give it to fucking Russia and shit. Like, surely that's the point. You're inviting the cancer into the body that you're trying to decide how to cut the cancer out of. That's a weird euphemism, but you get the idea. Like, yeah, why would you invite America to that? That's really fucking dumb. Don't do that. Thank you, Flint. I blame all this on the barst weirds that eat brie, Kev. What's wrong with brie? A little bit of brie. Nothing wrong with some brie. And I'm not even talking about Brie Larson. Although she's alright. I don't have a problem with Brie Larson. She's alright.
with the capacity to meet those threats.
The threats have just got bigger without the US, haven't they?
Yes, there's no doubt. But frankly, there has been a growing body of opinion in the US which has sought to, not incorrectly, look at the dangers and the threats they face in the Pacific and ask Europe for a greater contribution to that. There has been an increase, relatively, among many European countries towards their defence.
Yeah.
But it is not unreasonable, I think, for the United States to say this is a partnership and you have to play your part in that.
The other big development at the Security Conference earlier this week was when the US Vice President J.D. Vance said that the greatest threat facing Europe wasn't Russia, wasn't China, it was threats from within, to quote him, to freedom of speech. What did you think when you heard that?
That's amazing to me. Firstly, like, what is it that you can't say, or that you think you can't say in Europe that you can say in America? Also, you're literally banning people from the White House for criticising the president. Go fuck yourself, you hypocritical sack of shit.
So he also said we can disagree on some things and still be close allies. I would disagree on that.
All
I think the threat
liquor.
from Russia is real. We've seen the
and greater than threats to freedom of speech.
Yes, and just on the specific.
Didn't get me that time.
Let's
Didn't
be
get
clear,
me
we
that
don't-
time. Suck a dick. Suck all of my dicks. Fuck yes. Thank you, Flint Reed. Brie is unnatural and its genera humours. Are you drunk? I suspect you might be drunk, Flint. And I would say go home, but you're probably at home, I imagine. You could be watching this on a mobile device of some nature, I don't know, but yeah.
How plus?
The basic point is, melt it. Melted cheese is, I mean, I don't even know, it's like, melted cheese is like getting head from God. Basically, it's that good. It's like God-level head. Melted cheese. Fuck yes. Especially if you melt it and then you crisp it on top as... Oh, literally, I'm actually getting an erection.
Blasphemy laws in the UK, that's the right thing. I say that as a Christian. No one is arrested for what they are praying about. The example he gave was about making sure people can access healthcare, in this case,
so he was wrong.
Services. I wouldn't agree with his characterisation of that, but he did say, look, we can disagree on some of this stuff.
Yeah, he lied about, like, oh, you can't... Like, oh, it's terrible. You can't harass people that are going to get medical care. Yeah, good. Yeah, you shouldn't be able to do that. The fuck?
A key part of a relationship of allies and friends.
Let's talk about tariffs. President Trump suggested this week he's going to put 25% tariffs on all aluminium and steel imports into the US and...
Well, luckily, we don't make anything, so it doesn't affect us.
...impose further tariffs on countries that charge VAT on goods, like we do in the UK. What would be the impact on the British economy if that happens?
Well, first of all, in relation to steel and aluminium, what we send to the US is very specialised, relatively niche products that the US needs, so I don't want to see tariffs applied to our exports to the US,
no,
but I don't want to see,
but what would be the
I don't want
impact
to see our US friends. Look, the challenge would be, to be frank, some of the things the US imports, it hasn't got alternative suppliers for. I mean, the submarine casings that come from Sheffield, for instance, to the US Navy. I don't want them paying more needlessly for that. So we can engage, and we've already have been doing that on a solution.
What would be the impact if he goes
Well,
ahead?
it would be negative for ourselves, but it would be negative for the US as well.
Lay that out and, you know, say that in plain English. What?
Well, frankly, some of the contracts that we, on the steel issue, some of the exports that we have to the United States, I think they just end up...
You're not posh enough to do issue. It sounds weird. Well, it sounds weird anyway, but like, you've got a regional accent. It sounds even more mental and shit for you to go issue. It's not even it's not even like natural for you to do that. You fucking Westminster prick.
More if they put a 25% tariff on it, because I don't think they've got alternative suppliers. I do feel we can engage quite constructively on that basis. On their big complaint, going back to the US grievance about its trade deficit in goods with the EU and with China. Of course, we don't have that. I mean, the trade between the US and the UK is balanced.
No, but,
so again, there's the argument.
You will have seen President Trump say this week, we've got a huge trade deficit with the UK.
Well, I would not say that VAT is a tariff. It is a sales tax similar to the sales tax that they have in the United States. So we're having these conversations, we're engaging on it. I think sometimes in some of this you've got to stay calm, you've got to be pragmatic, you've got to engage. It is not in our interests or that of the United States to be in a position where we're charging tariffs on each other's goods. Actually, the
so you wouldn't consider retaliatory tariffs in the way that the EU is setting it would consider?
on steel, if that were to go ahead, that would mean that a deal we have in place...
That is good. I'm glad I uploaded that. Oil like a baby otter. Thank you, comedy... okay. It's very small writing. I nearly said comedy Jew. It's actually comedy jaw. An A and an E look quite similar at this distance. Thank you, comedy jaw, for becoming a member. Am I cancelled? I think I'm cancelled now.
Present, which removed tariffs, fell away. So you'd revert back to that position. But again, I say, from the conversations I've already had and the team has already had with the United States, there is the basis for constructive engagement. I'm not saying it's easy. I appreciate they have a mandate for changing how they approach the issues of trade. But we have got a different argument, a different story to tell to the EU or to China in relation to our trading.
Yeah, we really are.
I mean, I understand you say you have a different argument, but again, President Trump said no exemptions, no exceptions.
Well, look, in the past when there were tariffs in place before the deal I referred to was there were exemptions. There were things that
You think you're going to get an exemption?
I wouldn't. I'm taking nothing for granted, but I've had some very constructive conversations with key people in the new administration, recognising our relationship is different. We're going to put that case. Well, the Special Envoy to the UK, Mark Burnett, I've met just yesterday evening, had a conversation with the Director of the National Economic Council, Kevin Hassett. You will know the Commerce Secretary is not yet...
Shut up, you cunt. It's time for cheese.
Morning, sir. Morning. I was sitting in the public library in Sherman Street just now, skimming through Rogue Herries by Horace Walpole, when I suddenly came over all peckish.
Peckish, sir?
Esurient.
Eh?
Yeah, we're all hungry like.
Ah, hungry.
In a nutshell, so I thought to myself, a little fermented curd will do the trick. So I curtailed my wall-polling activities, sallied forth and infiltrated your place of purveyance to negotiate the vending of some cheesy comestibles.
Come again?
I want to buy some cheese!
Oh, I thought you were complaining about the music.
Oh, heaven forbid, I'm one who delights in all manifestations of the Terpsichorean muse.
Sorry?
I like a nice dance, you're forced to.
Anyway, who said that?
Now, my good man, some cheese, please.
Yes, certainly, sir. What would you like?
Well, how about a little Red Leicester?
I'm afraid we're fresh out of Red Leicester, sir.
Never mind. How are you on Tilsit?
Never at the end of the week, sir. Always get it fresh first thing on Monday.
Tish. No matter. Well, 4 ounces of Caerphilly then, if you please, stout yeoman.
Ah, well, it's been on order for 2 weeks, sir. I was expecting it this morning.
Yes, it's not my day, is it? Bell Pay, is it?
Sorry.
Red Windsor?
Normally, sir, yes. But today the van broke down.
Ah. Stilton?
Sorry.
Gruyere, Emmental?
No.
Any Norwegian Jarlsberger?
No.
Liptar?
No.
Lancashire?
No.
White Stilton?
No.
Danish Blue?
No.
Double Gloucester?
No.
Cheshire?
No.
Any Dorset Blue Vinny?
No.
Brie, Roquefort, Pont l'Evêque, Port-Salut, Savoyard, Saint-Paulin, Carré de l'Est, Boursin, Brest-Bleu, Perle de Champagne, Camembert.
Ah, we do have some camembert.
You do. Excellent.
It's a bit runny, sir.
Oh, I like it runny.
I like it runny.
Well,
melted cheese.
It's very runny, sir.
No matter, no matter. Hand over la fromage de la belle France qui s'appelle Camembert, s'il vous plaît.
I think it's runnier than you like it, sir.
I don't care how excrementally runny it is. Hand it over with all speed.
Yes, sir. Oh!
What?
The cat's eaten it.
Has he?
She, sir.
Gouda?
No.
Edam?
No.
Caithness?
No.
Smoked Austrian?
No.
Sage Derby?
No, sir.
You do have some cheese, do you?
Oh, certainly, sir. It's a cheese shop, sir. We've got...
No, don't tell me. I'm keen to guess.
Fair enough.
Wensleydale?
Yes, sir.
Splendid! Well, I'll have some of that then, please.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I thought you were referring to me, Mr. Wensleydale.
Gorgonzola? No. Parmesan? No. Mozzarella? No. Pippo creme? No. Any Danish Finbo? No. Czechoslovakian sheep's milk cheese? No. Venezuelan beaver cheese?
Beaver cheese.
Sir, no.
Well, let's keep it simple. How about cheddar?
Well, I'm afraid we don't get much call for it round these parts, sir.
It's the single most popular cheese in the world.
Not round these parts, sir.
And pray, what is the most popular cheese round these parts?
Ilchester, sir.
I see.
Yes, sir, it's quite staggeringly popular in the manor, Squire.
Is it?
Yes, sir, it's our #1 seller.
Is it?
Yes, sir.
Ilchester, eh?
Right.
Okay, I'm game. Have you got any? He asked, expecting the answer no.
I'll have a look, sir. No.
It's not much of a cheese shop, really, is it?
It's in the district, sir.
And what leads you to that conclusion?
Well, it's so clean.
Well, it's certainly uncontaminated by cheese.
True.
You haven't asked me about Limburger, sir.
Is it worth it?
Could be.
Okay. Have you got...
Will you shut that bloody
Told you so.
Have you got any Limburger?
No.
No, that figures. No, it's pretty predictable, really. It was an act of pure optimism to pose the question in the first place. Tell me something. Do you have any cheese at all?
Yes, sir.
Now, I'm going to ask you that question once more. And if you say no, I'm going to shoot you through the head. Now, do you have any cheese at all?
No.
What a senseless waste of human life.
That could be another sound alert for someone who follows the channel. What a senseless waste of human life. That would work. If someone wants to clip it and send me the MP3.
Confirmed by the Senate, but we would expect that to happen next week. So look, this is some difficult things to resolve, but there's good engagement, good conversations, and again, a mutual interest in resolving this.
You are here also to outline how you're going to spend £2.5 billion, which you committed in the Labour manifesto last summer, to support the UK steel sector. Is that really enough when they've got to switch from these old-fashioned blast furnaces to the modern electric arc furnaces?
Well, look, what this is a recognition of is, whilst this international trading
the answer is no.
is a challenging one, if
no,
that was to go ahead in the United States, what we need
the answer
to do
is no.
Is address our domestic environment for the steel industry. So if you look at the steel in the UK, which is strong,
Mr. Reynolds,
meet about 30%,
the answer is no.
Of that demand.
I don't give a fuck what you're currently saying. The answer to the question is no. No, it isn't enough. Obviously, it's nowhere near enough. It's embarrassing that you're still fucking talking and that I'm having to talk over you.
What's called carbon leakage.
What the fuck is right? How are you still going? How are you talking and saying so little?
I've read the Green Paper. It feels like another consultation about another strategy, but when the industry is saying it wants action now. And obviously, I'm going to ask you specifically about the Scunthorpe Steelworks. Unions have previously been really concerned that they were going to close. 2,000 jobs under threat. Are you confident those 2,000 jobs are now secure?
Well, we are in talks still with British Steel. I have a further set of talks on Tuesday of this week. We are willing to put in, the fund you reference, let's be clear, is more money than a British government has ever put in to investment in the steel industry. We have to work with the private sector to do that.
Sure, but will it save those 2,000
Well, presumably,
jobs?
On the jobs,
that has to be gross amount, doesn't it? There's no way that's like a percentage of spending or some shit like that, right? Because presumably, back when we were actually spending any amount of money on steel industry and stuff, it was like back when you could nationalise it for fucking £6.37 because like money was worth a lot less, or inflation has fucking meant that everything's fucking like we've got £1 Freddos. Don't even get me fucking started again. Honestly, my blood pressure. I don't need it. I don't need that fucking angst upon me again. Yeah, that has to be just like raw total amount. It has to be. Thank you, Flint Reed, who says, that can't be right. I am the YouTube channel's comedy Jew. We have several comedy Jews. We have some amazing Jewish contributors to this channel, and I love them all. Important question. Is there a cheese tariff? I wish I had like a cheese-based pun for you, but I just don't. I'm sorry. I'll let you down. But thank you.
What I need if I'm to put money in are guarantees on jobs, and guarantees that if I put money in, that will be safe, we'll get a good return, we'll get a viable business out of that. The private sector partner in this, British Steel, has to be able to provide that to me. There is a reduction in headcount when you move to the new technologies that are available, that is recognised.
That's job losses then?
It is, but frankly, what I would have ideally
So how many of
wanted
the
to see,
2,000 do you reckon you can save?
it depends on the nature of the transformation project, because I think we've got the chance not just for changing to new technology in terms of electric arc furnaces, we've got the potential for actually more further downstream activity. There could be more jobs in steel in the UK, but it depends on what we can agree with a private sector partner. Dude, you can't do this in the private sector alone, you can't do it in the public sector alone. You've got to have that relationship, but I need to know if I'm putting money in, I'm getting something for it.
Absolutely, and so do the people watching who might happen to work at the Scunthorpe Steelworks. I mean, what message should they take from
Well, they
you,
should
what
take
you're
that
saying
this
this
is a
morning?
government fighting for steel in a way we haven't seen for 14 years. I know they're frustrated because, frankly, the transition that was required should have been started 10 years ago, 5 years ago. We're really up against it. You will know the blast furnaces lose a great deal of money. I mean, that's the key issue. They lose somewhere in the region of £1 million a day. So some of the time we had to get this transition right, the clock was run down needlessly under the last government. But the big change here is real money from government, a real strategy in place, a willingness to tackle the big issues. You might have seen the announcement from Heathrow this week that they will use British steel. You've got to create demand for steel through the kind of decisions we've made on.
You need to have backup Jews. Yeah. Or you could say you're part of the Jew queue. Because it's a queue of Jewish people. A Jew queue. I'm actually quite proud of that. I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to say it. I am proud of myself. Honestly, I think my teachers would be proud of me, and I think my parents would be proud of me. I will never be telling them that I said this and that this was a thing that popped into my mind, but I'm sure they definitely would be. And I'm not just telling myself that as a coping mechanism at all.
An infrastructure project, so it's challenging, but they've got a government on the pitch, and I know they're concerned, but we're fighting to get.
There's a government on the pitch. They think it's all over.
Thank you very much, Jonathan Reynolds.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It is
Business
now.
Secretary. Now, the shadow foreign.
I don't give a fuck about Priya Patel. Should we move on to slop? Should we just do some fucking slop? What the oh my god. I think we just found our Tanky Tuesday content, by the way. I was just sort of looking around, and we've got Bad Mouse Productions with an hour's worth of shite. The defeatism of Stalinist arguments. That looks like some prime Tanky Tuesday slop. If you don't mind me saying. Anyway. I forgot what I was going to fucking do. Hang on. Bollocks. Hang on. Fuck's sake. Okay. I literally had the video up. Why did I get rid of it? Hang on. History. Here we go. Right. So, President Sunday put out a video called Hassan Piker is unironically evil. Okay, let's this looks like prime slop. Brain rot slop. Let's go.
In this video, I'm going to lay out in 3 reasons how Hassan Piker is not only a terrible human being, he is a fake leftist and a fraud who, under the thin guise of a phony progressivism, uses his vast influence on social media to spread bigotry and ignorance among his impressionable and young audience.
I am intrigued. I'm intrigued. I'm aroused. I'm also a little bit confused, but it's beautiful.
I am doing my best.
What's it? Trump and tankies have this one thing in common. I'll have a watch of that off stream. Thank you, seamstress. Does unironically mean equal literally these days? Yes. Yes. but it can also be used in an ironic way. So, like when I say that Jeremy Corbyn is literally Hitler, what I'm doing there is subverting the meaning of the word literal, but subverting it not just from its original form, but from the form that people were misusing it by saying literal when they didn't mean literal, and I'm subverting that to mean not literal when I'm saying literal. So basically, it's wrapped up in so many layers of irony that it stops the thoughts from coming in. Because we need to avoid the thoughts. The thoughts will kill us all. President Sunday's politics are like left. That's about as well as I can narrow it down for you. Left. Somewhere.
Let's begin.
Let's begin indeed.
1. Promoting anti-Semites.
Okay.
Despite ostensibly caring about racial justice, Hassan Piker has hosted radical anti-Semites on his channel for friendly conversations, allowing them to appeal to his young audience without receiving any real pushback.
Work, you're right. Yeah, that was interesting, right? See, he's Jewish, but he's a fan of mine. What do you think about that? Thoughts?
You said you have a lot of black and Jewish fans, right?
Yeah. Because I'm a lover of all people.
Yeah?
Really.
You just want them to be happy in their own countries.
I just want people to be happy. I love black people.
When pressed...
Hang on a minute. So is this just a joke then? Is he just doing a joke?
Jewish viewers about this behavior, Hassan defended his actions by obfuscating and pretending that he didn't know whether or not his guest was in fact anti-Semitic, despite the clear evidence that he was.
I'm saying based on all the information you have about him, I think it's kind of important for you to make an assessment of whether or not he's like a genocidal crazy person who wants to kill people if he comes to power, or to whatever extent you think that is true. I do think you need to assess that.
Okay, here's what's happening, okay?
Okay, all right.
You're saying, is he a Nazi? And I'm saying, I'm not sure. And you're pointing out, well, you said he was a Nazi here. You said he was a Nazi here. Here you joke that he's a Nazi. Here you allude to him being a Nazi. Here you say he's not a Nazi, and right now you won't call him a Nazi. And you're saying that I'm obfuscating by not answering the question. Is that a fair statement of what you're saying?
Yes, but I just want to again be clear that my problem is that all those statements contradict each other, not your current answer or your current thinking.
Sure. And my assertion is none of those statements are contradictory. But the problem is we're fighting over the statement, is he a Nazi? And you think that the question you're asking me is Nick Fuentes a Nazi? That's not the question that I'm dealing with. The question I'm dealing with is, what is a Nazi? That's the question. Insofar as a Nazi is a strictly defined term, I can clearly compare it to Nick's stated positions and figure out whether or not he is or is not a Nazi. So, for instance, if we go by the definition of he was part of the National Socialist Party, he's not a Nazi. If we go by the definition of has some vague anti-Semitic beliefs and is fascist, he might be a Nazi or is a Nazi. If we go by this or that...
Do you think his anti-Semitic beliefs are vague?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Because he doesn't currently advocate for genocide or ethno-states. He doesn't currently advocate for...
Who are they talking
Well, it depends
about?
now on how we define anti-Semitic, I guess. Anti-Semitic Semitic in reference to Nazi, or anti-Semitic in terms of just doesn't like Jewish people?
Whatever you meant when you used the word.
Well, if you don't know, hold on.
Definition.
If you don't know what I meant when I used the word, then for you to say, well, don't you think he is that, when you don't even know what I mean when I say that, I'm not saying disingenuous intention from your part, but you're asking me an empty question. You don't actually even know what I'm saying.
2. Hassan promotes genocide. Hassan Piker regularly defends the actions of violent imperial states against oppressed peoples.
Honestly, I'm pro-genocide. It sounds really shitty, but I think that Israel should just draw up its fucking borders about where it is now, and basically Palestinians can go live in another place. That's really shitty, but that's about where I'm at.
This is an interesting. Think the Palestinians should just pack up and Native American the fuck out of there?
The problem is that it seems like there is a hugely general hostility to Jewish people across really the entire world, but definitely the Middle East.
All the while demonstrating astonishing historical and geographical ignorance.
What is this?
I don't know which is which, dude. Close the cookies? Oh yeah, true. Doesn't know where Yemen is? Okay, I'm gonna click close. I'm closing it. I'm closing it. I think nope. 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 Got it.
3. Hassan uses sex slaves. Despite claiming to be a progressive and a feminist, Hassan Piker has purchased the services
So is
of
this just
prostitutes
this is
who were
all
likely
what the stuff Destiny's done? Is that the joke here?
victims of sex trafficking.
I mean, you ever paid for a prostitute before in a legal state?
I don't know if it's legal. I actually did one time very recently here because I was curious. I did one of those massage places or whatever, and I was like, I'm curious what this is like. Fuck it, it's quarantine time.
How was it?
Probably one of the worst experiences of my life.
Was it just like a sad hand job?
This is the guy that took heroin by accident.
For like, and I like tipped really well too because I was like, oh, you know, I got a lot of money. These girls seem like they don't make much. Like maybe they'll be. Actually, it was horrible.
Was it from like an older woman or?
She was probably like in her 30s or 40s.
Yeah,
but it was
like really
so bad. Yeah, I guess, but like, I want some. What I was interested is like, I wonder if this is gonna be like an ultra skilled fucking hand job, like crazy shit ever. But it wasn't. It was just like, it was like the worst, one of the worst hand jobs I've ever had in my life. Like from a girl who's like, oh, I just want you to come as quickly as possible. I'm like, okay.
There's like nothing worse in this world than like a sad hand job.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, why?
I honestly, I get why they choose the bear.
Like, you should just never use your hands again. For
I
this.
guess, yeah. Especially because I overpaid like a motherfucker for it too. But whatever.
What did you pay?
That's a skill issue.
I think the booking was like 40 or 50 or 60 or whatever for the room, and I think I gave her 120. I just wanted to know if they were really good at giving hand jobs. Like the scenario is actually kind of sad to me. Like, I don't know. Like I have to pull out my phone and use like Google Translate so that this woman understands what I'm saying. It feels like she's like some fucking sex slave trafficked in, and it's like this is kind of awkward, and I don't feel good about this. And maybe you'll be
still
really
did
good
it
at
though.
giving hand
Still
jobs.
did it.
Nope, yeah.
Brilliant.
That
Lovely guy.
Where
Lovely guy.
was she from? What nationality was she?
Chinese.
Oh.
But yeah.
Interesting.
Cool.
Rip.
Yeah, that's
Damn,
awesome.
dude. So it must have been really soft hands though. It's probably like getting a hand job with like a catcher's mitt.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but it doesn't really matter how soft your
honestly,
hand is.
just get in the bin. Get in the fucking trash. You two deserve to be in the trash. You are garbage.
You just grab it and you for like 2 minutes until the person comes. It's like, okay.
Yeah, but are you like a fast stroker or kind of like a slow stroker, dude?
I mean, I'll do whatever. It depends.
I'll do whatever.
But I mean, I can do. It just depends on the scenario, right? Like if you want a quickie, if you want to fuck somebody and be done with it in like 3 minutes and you're going quick, right? Or if I want to like get off really quick, it'll be that, yeah. But if it's like you want to take your time and enjoy it, and it's going to be a lot longer, right?
Yeah, that's true. Are you good at chess?
Oh, what a segue. That was fucking beautiful, man. You good at chess? You good at chess? Beautiful.
As you can clearly see,
Oh.
Hassan Piker is a terrible influence in progressive politics and a horrible human being. And for all we know, he could be gaslighting tons of vulnerable women behind the scenes, secretly recording them without their consent,
He
and
could
spreading
be.
the videos
Who
to
knows?
potentially underage sex workers on Discord. As always, thank you for listening, and take care.
What's this?
He is fake.
Hang on a minute. So I don't know how much I want to even watch of this, but like, someone suggested it in the fucking Discord, and like, okay, we'll give it a look. Hang on. So this is from a guy called Nicholas de Orio, who I've only ever had one interaction with, and it wasn't great because he seemed like a bit of a prick. But whatever. Why is it? Hang on. Why has it done that? No, definitely don't do that, you fucking knob. There we go. Right, and it's about Voosh, who we haven't talked about Voosh in ages, have we? Yeah. Hang on. What is this a link to? Sorry. Apologies, everyone. I was trying to find that. Yeah, that I don't know what that. I honestly, that video from the
when Musk
from President Sunday was pointless. But thank you, Dave Rubin's misogynist meltdown, deranged rant against consumer protections. Oh, I don't know what the fuck that is. Thank you, Kieran. Isn't he the ghost of Kharkiv? No, he's the Kharkiv kid finder. He's the Kharkiv short stack finder. Anyway, let's have a look. It's an hour and a half long. We're definitely not getting through that, but we'll have a look and see what the general vibe is.
I know that Ethan Klein's a piece of shit who's fallen off massively and has been like willfully engaging in a drama spiral to the bottom as he like alienates the people around him. The idea that he would rope Markiplier into that is actually wild. Like, sure, whatever. I hope Markiplier survives the drama. I don't know. It reminds me of when the LA fires started and Ethan Klein posted on Instagram, like, I bet Hassan is praying that the fires take out my computer so I don't release my video exposing him. And it's like, dude, there's a fire outside your house. What are you doing? What the f? You're actually insane. You're mentally ill.
All right, I want to watch this now. What is the next thing that we're gonna?
No, we'll do we'll do that tomorrow as Friends Roast.
This is the next one. This is today. This is prior to the content nuke getting released. I've been waiting to watch this because he actually talks about Bo Blacks. Like the crew gets into a huge fight about Bo Blacks minutes before this video comes out.
Very exciting stuff. There's actually some very exciting stuff in the doc. We went to war with a small TikToker named Alexis for coming at me, daring to come at me. By the way, she has a whole 20-minute segment in this new content nuke. I'm kidding, of course. Nobody undeserving is getting featured in that.
Yeah, to be fair, he really didn't go crazy and just go after every single... Like, he didn't just... He went after Frogan, he went after Mike, he went after Hassan. It was pretty pointed. I don't even think the Capri Sun Poppy guy got named too much.
Ducky?
He's really excited.
Actually, I think... What was the worst thing I ever said? Maybe I am going... I don't know. I don't know if I'm going too hard on the fucking... the segment with, like, the death threats and stuff, because I did make a pretty... fire joke to Capri Sun Poppy. I think I said, like, what did I say? The IDF has, like, the ability to do the funniest possible thing. But again, even when I said that, even when I made the joke about the IDF, it's not like the IDF is like, it's not like I'm saying, like, hey, an audience member should go to this person, right? Like, it's
no, you're literally saying that the organization that does that regularly should do that, which is better somehow.
Obvious, like, it's an organization that would be like no one from the IDF is traveling to America to assassinate somebody. That would be ridiculous.
Sense your excitement.
Well, I mean, not from the IDF specifically, but we know that Mossad have done that. We know that Mossad have executed people outside of Israel.
And he's like extra excited right now.
I can't play with you while I'm doing the show, Ducky.
I'll play with Ducky.
He does this to me.
The IDF is all currently huddled around the computer watching me. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, this is the IDF waiting room. Like, the Hassan Piker waiting room was the denim stream. Like, the IDF soldiers are watching me now.
When I've been in the zone editing for the past months, he always comes down the...
Look, I don't give a fuck. Get to the Vosh.
Let's hear his enlightened take about me and Markiplier beef.
Exciting.
This beef, by the way, continues to thrive.
Oh, boy.
What can I say, man? The internet is so insane.
Ethan Klein calls Markiplier a psycho after he blocked him.
How is that the story?
How are you, like...
This is insane.
It also happened years that's ago. Not the story, because not in your voice, the way you're reading it, like it's something serious.
You know what this is? You ever watch the Bill Burr video where it's like the way that they tell the story is like super important, because it could be like so she's like, no, stop it, no, but like the way it's read in court is like, no, stop it, I said no, do not touch me, or whatever. Like, you get a bad read, you go to jail. That's what's happening here.
That was not the story.
Well, this is what people are clickbaiting now.
Yeah.
Is that Ethan unfollowed Mark because he called Mark a psycho.
It's like, guys, no, Markiplier is a psychopath, guys. And then when you get to court, it's like, Markiplier is a psychopath. He fakes his voice. I don't know how people watch this.
Because Mark
that's Bosch's version, yeah.
unfollowed Ethan on Twitter.
Yeah.
Which every detail of that is wrong.
This is fucking boring.
First of all,
this better get
everything
good at
happening
some
now
point.
has nothing to do with that, right? Obviously,
Can I say
and that
something to
happened
you,
like
Nick?
4 years
really
ago,
like
right? And he didn't even unfollow me. He just muted me.
Right. You did say it, but you were joking.
Yeah.
So all of these people are taking you literally, but you did.
Can I say something to you, Nick? I really
ironic.
I don't know, I just feel like I'm not retarded, so I realized that that was a joke.
Oh, and he's
you
one
know,
of
like
those
I'm not
people.
I'm not like a complete animal, so I figured it out.
We laid it all out
say
for them.
something to you,
to
Nick?
just
you said
be
because
I'm actually just fucking bored. I'm going to find something else from the Discord because this is fucking tedious. I knew it was going to be slop, but this is nothing. This is honestly so fucking shite. Okay, Trumpies and tankies have.
I am doing my best. I am doing my best, y'all,
this in
to
common.
not get dragged into conversation.
Right. Okay. So this is from a person called Park Rose Permaculture. Okay, and they're responding to a comment that says, "I'm one of the accelerationists, but my goal isn't a communist utopia. I just want to watch the world burn so that humans can't infect the universe." Seems like maybe they're just a troll, but I don't know. She's going to respond. Okay.
Conversations with accelerationists with tankies. But I made a video the other day that I did not expect to go quite so viral, where I was talking about how evangelical Christians have this kind of pathological, eschatological worldview, where they are focused on the end times. They think that this administration might bring about the second coming of Jesus, that they are constantly like, we are in the world, but not of it. We're focused on bringing about the kingdom of heaven. And actually, like, suffering on earth doesn't matter that much. And a lot of them believe it's good to suffer, especially for like women to suffer, children to suffer, the poor to suffer, that we don't actually have to worry about that too much because Jesus is about to come back. And I got hundreds and hundreds of comments being like, yep, I was raised like that, where the focus was on dying and the end times and going to heaven, or the kingdom of heaven coming to earth, depending on what your theological view is. And in that video, I said that there are a lot of folks who come from that kind of evangelical upbringing, very fixated on the apocalypse, the end times, the tribulation. There are a lot of folks that have left their religion but have not deconstructed from that mindset, from that worldview. And they're now atheists or humanists, but they've swung to the political very far left and embrace authoritarian communism. And this is where I was like, please listen to comprehend. I am in no way saying everybody on the left is an authoritarian communist or a tanky or an accelerationist. I'm saying there is a small contingent of folks, and largely those folks bring their evangelical eschatology with them. They have not deconstructed from it. They also have not largely deconstructed from their misogyny and anti-blackness, their ableism and their childism, which is precisely why those folks wanted Trump to get elected. They
Childism? Is that a thing? Okay, well, I guess. I don't know.
were proclaiming it all over this
Never
app
thought
that
about
they
it,
wanted
Lana.
him to get elected because they thought that it would bring about the end of the United States empire. It would be the destruction of the US, and that would suddenly somehow bring about their communist utopia. And they were freely acknowledging that in that process of Trump getting elected, we would have a lot of the things we're seeing now. It would be the most vulnerable people who would suffer the most. And they were perfectly happy to throw disabled folks, homeless folks, black folks, trans folks, children under the bus if it meant in the end they would get their brand of authoritarianism instead of the brand that we have now. That they were perfectly happy to sacrifice those folks for their bloody revolution. Just like...
Yeah, I was thinking ageism, but look, you tend to think of ageism as being against older people. But I suppose that would also be for any age, really. It's bigotry based on age. But I've never heard childism before. No.
The evangelical Christians are willing to sacrifice all of us so that Donald Trump will bring about their end times prophecy. It's like, see the connection here? These folks...
See, I don't have a prophecy or anything like that, and I'm certainly not looking forward to it, but I do think Donald Trump is going to bring the end times. I just don't think anyone's going to be floating up to heaven, because that's not a thing. We're just all going to be dead. Because Elon Musk lied about getting to Mars, so we're not going to be on Mars. We're just all going to be dead. But in the meantime, I do need to live. So if you wanted to, you could help me in that quest by doing the bitty bits, or the subby subs, or the memberships, or the super chats, or the flying pigeons.
Folks on the left are still bringing with them so much of the mindset of evangelical America, the obsession with the apocalypse, the dehumanization with folks who are women, children, disabled, especially, and also not white, which is why I have said that for me personally, white cis men who are leftists have to prove that they are safe.
No,
I do not believe that they are safe.
I know, I get that, Black Rose. I understood what was meant by it. I just never heard the phrase before. And I was wondering if that's a thing that they'd made up, or whether it's like an American thing. I've never ever heard a British person say it before. But like, I understand. Look, if you put ism at the end of a thing, yeah, like I get like Chineseism or something like that. Signism? I don't know.
Safe, out of hand. I am not willing to extend that trust, because so many of them have shown how profoundly anti-black and misogynistic they are, and have shown how much they really hate kids, as evidenced by all of the folks who were excited for the little children who are going to suffer with Medicaid, SNAP, TANF, WIC funds potentially going away, that they are okay about that. They're happy about that if it means that Trumpers' kids will suffer. Little children who had nothing to do.
Well, to be fair, that's not just a tanky thing. Again, I will just push back on that point. Not because I am a tanky. I literally do a show, albeit not very regularly, called Tanky Tuesday, where I take the piss out of tankies, because tankies are knobheads. The point is,
ladies and gentlemen,
it isn't just...
We got 'em. Victory is ours.
It isn't just tankies that do that. I did a whole... Well, not a whole show. I did a whole hour bit in one of the shows last week about how liberals were like gloating. They were like, oh, see black people and see transoids or whatever that didn't want to vote for my candidate. See, now Trump's going to fuck you and you deserve it. Like, it's that thing. And this is just like the tanky, accelerationist, whatever version. Unfortunately, there are just some like really poisoned people. And it's not a matter of political positioning on any kind of quadrant or spectrum or whatever. You get people, I mean, the entirety of MAGA is just spiteful, poisoned people, right? You get conservatives, fascists, centrists, liberals, leftists, communists, whatever. That it's about being a unhappy person and being a spiteful person, and rather than trying to make the world better so that you can live in it, you think, well, the world's shit and I don't like it, and I'm not happy that other people are okay. I need them to feel bad too. So it's got nothing to do really with the politics of the person. It's being a spiteful piece of shit. That is a stiff dick of poop, if that makes sense. I hope I explained that vaguely well. Thank you to Forgiato Blow Kev. Nice. Welcome to the Kevolution. And thank you to Anonymous Gifter for gifting a sub. Much love to you. She's right. It's real and disturbing thing. Reverse MAGA. Yeah, it is basically reverse MAGA. Yeah, that is true. What is this? Here's an amazing tanky account, Kev. Oh, I know Midwestern Marks. Yeah. I know full well this person. Yeah. Oh, did you see that is it the American Communist Party wound up, or is going to be wound up, or something in the near future? Not to be confused with the Communist Party of America, which has been around since forever. The weird fucking MAGA communist group, the Jackson Hinkle freaks. Yeah. So that's fun. That's good, at least. It's a nice start to 2025.
With voting for who is in office now, who have no control over who their parents are and what their politics are. So I got a bunch of comments on that video from leftists who I think willfully misunderstood what I was saying, did not listen to comprehend. This is my favorite snarky phrase of the moment. Please listen to comprehend. Do not center your defensiveness. If the critique is not about you, you don't need to take it personally. I was not saying all leftists.
That's the thing that I don't get, right? It's when people say like Like, I mean, I did a joke. I joked a second ago about, like, I get why women choose the bear. So for those who don't know, there was this thing online about women choosing between a man or a bear, right? Now, like, the absurdity of that is supposed to ram the point home that men are dangerous to women, which of course they are in a number of ways. And so it would be like safer in some instances to choose a bear, right? Go on a date with a bear instead of a man, especially because the bear doesn't have any ill will. Anything it does that's bad will be on the basis of just a natural, like, response. It doesn't have ill will against you. It's not being capricious. It's just, it's a fucking bear. It's unthinking in that sense. Or at least it doesn't have, conscious foresight of its actions and all of that. And isn't aware that the other person can feel things, or the other creature can feel things, because that's not how animals operate. And so that kind of thought experiment, or that meme, I never got angry about, because I know it's not aimed at me. I don't go around attacking women, so I have nothing to fear from them, like, pointing out that men attack women. Like, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, it's just true. It's just statistically true that happens. Like, I don't know why you'd get offended by that, or like the people who have to go, like, not all men. Okay. Why did you feel the need to defensively, like, reflexively defend, like, attackers or abusers? What the fuck? Like, a bear didn't drug its wife and then let all the neighbourhood fuck her for years and years. A man did that, though, didn't they, in France? Lots of men were involved with that. Bear's never done that. A bear's mostly interested in, like, catching salmon and shitting in the woods, you know? So I don't feel threatened by the analogy.
I am on the left, although I prefer to call myself a post-capitalist. I no longer like to call myself a leftist because of the damage that a few prominent online leftists who are accelerationists, who are tankies, the damage that they did in the last election. I don't want to align myself with them.
Who is she referring to, do we know? Does she do... Is there, like, a regular viewer of this person that could enlighten me? Eugenicists run amok. MAGA farmers. Trying to see, do they call anyone out by name? Because I am, after all, a messy bitch. I do want to know the beef. I need to know the beef. Okay. Raw milk moms. Okay. This despicable corporation will turn you into an anti-capitalist. That's not quite what I'm looking for here. Is leftist a poison term? Oh, we did watch that. Oh, I thought she looked familiar. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I can't see anything. Yeah, they don't seem like the kind of person that gets into like personal drama and shit. I could be wrong, but you know. Anyway.
Or anyone to think that I might share their beliefs. I am not a fan of authoritarianism. I don't care if the flavor is fascist authoritarianism or communist authoritarianism. But a lot of those folks were really pissed off in my comments. Like, how dare you make this connection between evangelicals and accelerationists on the left? Right? That really burned their biscuits. They did not like that comparison. And I stand by it. I stand by that comparison because I think it is accurate. Not for the majority of leftists, not at all. But for those who want a violent revolution that they think will bring about their communist utopia.
To be fair, when talking about a violent revolution, etc., etc., you are wearing literal guillotine. No, chill. Guillotine earrings. That is a thing you are doing. Now, you might say that that's ironic or like a joke or a meme or something, but like that was quite a violent revolution. The old Froggy Wobbles revolution, you know. Just a thought for you. I'm just saying. Also, like I'm not sure how many peaceful revolutions there have ever been. Not many. Most revolutions turn violent, don't they? Now, you're not necessarily a revolutionist. That's fine. You could be a fucking what do you call it? A gradualist, and that's fine. I don't got no problem with that. I'm open to all arguments and all possibilities. A million different ways of making the world a better fucking place. I've given up on utopianism a long time ago. Let's just make it less shit than it currently is. And there are many ways of doing that, potentially. And the idea that they're just going to give that kind of thing up peacefully, the idea that they're going to give up like genuine progressive change peacefully is, I think, pie in the sky. I think we've seen that. When people have peacefully protested, they send in, you know, water cannons and stuff. Fucking Occupy Wall Street was peaceful. What did it fucking achieve? And ultimately, did they ask them nicely to leave and they left, or did they like send in the police to decamp them? Yeah. She's mentioned Hassan once or twice. Okay, what's her beef with Hassan? I might need to look into this. Because I really don't think Hassan is the problem here. Don't get me wrong, I have my issues with Hassan's content. Mr. Piker has, I think, gone in bad directions at times and said things that I think are stupid. But I don't think she's... but I don't think he's like the problem, if that makes sense. Like, if you're not calling yourself...
We need more content. I want to tank you.
If you're not calling yourself a leftist because of Hassan, I think that's a frankly rather ludicrous overreaction to what might be a reasonably small thing or whatever. I don't know. A reasonably small thing, like his head, because he's got a tiny little head.
Folks who are accelerationists and were hoping that Trump would get elected, and they were not.
Oh, there is a specific thing. Let's talk tankies and how their politics hurts community. Okay, well, we'll get through this one first.
Fooled about the suffering that would cause. They were hoping for it. They were hoping that suffering would prompt people to come around to their way of thinking. Those folks are willing to use the suffering of the most vulnerable to achieve their political ends, to achieve their goals, just like evangelicals. So this person said on that video, I'm one of the accelerationists, but my goal isn't a communist utopia. I just want to watch the world burn so that humans can't infect the universe. Yeah, that's absolutely repugnant. That is horrendous. If you think that humans are infecting the universe, if you think that we as people are the problem, it's weird how y'all who have this viewpoint always want to take out other people. It's always other people that are the problem.
Well, to be fair, the French are the problem, yeah.
Are you not also a human? Why do you need to watch the world burn? If humans are the problem, couldn't you contribute to reducing the problem right now? I mean, obviously, I'm not advocating for folks to, but, you know, let's think about this.
I think we should reduce the problem of the French, yes. Also, again, you're not calling for that. Look at your fucking earrings.
Logically, let's get to the root of what you're really saying, of what you're really thinking here. And I think this is a good lesson because I don't think this opinion is unique. I agree there are folks like this amongst accelerationists. When we are listening to folks who are on the left, we need to have some discernment. Look, I'm going to use my old Christianese here. We need to have discernment and be skeptical of the claims, be skeptical of the advice, and realize what folks are thinking underneath, what their end goals are, how they're perfectly happy to sacrifice disabled folks, children, women, people of color, trans folks, veterans, homeless folks, definitely everybody in poverty. They're willing to let those folks suffer. So
I'll be entirely honest. I don't think they should suffer, but I don't care so much about veterans. Like, I don't see them as a protected class, if that makes sense. Like, I don't see them, it's not an immutable characteristic. You kind of chose to go and do that shit. I can't tell if that's a baby or a cat making noise outside. It's very annoying though. Yeah, I can't. Oh, what the fuck was I saying? I've been distracted. What was I saying, chat? What was I saying? Oh, fuck's sake, hang on, I'll have to go back because I did have a point. Oh yeah, veterans. I don't care too much about veterans. Again, I don't want them to suffer. I don't think they should be on the street. I don't think anyone should be on the fucking street. I don't think they should just be ignored when they have obvious problems like substance abuse and things like that. But I don't see them as like a protected class in that way. Like, I don't think they need. I don't think they need extra special super duper anything. Like I wouldn't put them in the same class as like trans people or black people or whatever. Like the people who've actually like do veterans suffer oppression because of their veteranness? I don't think so. I really don't think so. Where streeting should be on the street? On Sesame Street. Because he's a muppet.
that they can achieve their political ends. And sometimes their political ends are completely self-indulgent, nihilistic, and they have no intention of creating a better world. I mean, they have no plans to create a better world anyway. Like, these folks never have a plan. But yeah, be aware. Be aware of who you're listening to and what their ideology might be underneath.
Someone suggested that evangelicals are trying to accelerate the end of times because that's the only way that Jesus.
Oh yeah, did you? Oh shit! Oh, fuck's sake! Hang on. Where was the thing? Hang on. Where did we get to? Hang on. Fuck. Did you see? Yeah, that was it. Asmongold did his thing about some light Holocaust revision, as you do, going on about Magnus Hirschfeld and the Sex Research Institute and how they were writing in Jewish, which is a spectacular piece of Nazi propaganda, which I'd never heard before. That's a new one, and I've heard literally every single Holocaust denial, Holocaust belittlement, Holocaust undermining talking point ever. And he made up a new one, which was that he was written in Jewish. Now, few quick points on that. Firstly, Jewish isn't a language. It's like an ethnicity / religious affiliation. Yeah, that's not a thing. There is, of course, Hebrew, naturally. There is also Yiddish, which is a fantastic language. A combination of Hebrew and Slavic languages and things is wonderful. But he didn't write in either of those either. And even if he had, what's the problem with that exactly? Why would that make it okay to burn his fucking books? Like, why would that be okay? Weird Holocaust denial. What's this? Since we're both football fans, here's Asmold talking about watching football soccer on Twitch a few years ago and the racism in those chats. Okay. Oh my god.
From I was watching football, not actual football, but actually actual football, not hand egg that we have here, right? But the one where you kick the ball around with your feet, that football. I would watch games on that all the time on Twitch. And I actually kind of started getting used to it. And it was weird because and the funniest thing about it is that if you ever watch a football game on Twitch, the entire chat, people thought that my chat was bad with that W Nazis thing. You have no fucking idea. Like, every single football stream that I would see, straight up fucking racism the entire time. Like, everybody, it's the two sides and the two different groups.
Can't believe he's gone woke. Can you believe it? Asmongold or Asmond woke. Yeah.
Folks never have a plan, but
Like, yeah. He's just such a pointless human being. I can't be bothered. How the fuck this creature is still allowed on Twitch, I don't know. Well, because he makes money, I guess. But like, it's yeah. Why does he make money? Oh yeah, because he's got an audience of Nazis. Yeah, which is quite lucrative, unfortunately.
Yeah. Be aware of who you're listening to and what their ideology might be underneath.
Someone suggested that evangelicals are trying to accelerate the end of times because that's the only way that Jesus will return. Yeah, that's correct. That's 100% correct. You may not know it.
Those are different glasses. She has a lovely series of glasses.
From watching my content now, but I used to be part of a very conservative denomination, Presbyterian Church in America. And as a homeschooling parent who has run in sometimes very conservative homeschooling circles, has been friends with a lot of very, very conservative evangelicals in those circles for more than a decade and a half, this is 100% correct. While this is a position that I have never personally held myself, and I think most Presbyterians, because we're Calvinist, typically aren't as obsessed with the end times as some other denominations. After all, we're part of the elect. What do we need to worry about? Anyway, a lot of folks in Christian America very much believe that they need to bring about, that they have a role in bringing about the end times and the second coming. Depending on if they're pre-trib or post-trib rapture, they think that they can help kick off the tribulation. In fact, this is why so many evangelicals are Zionist, are very, very pro-Israel. It's not because they actually care about the Jewish people at all. It's not actually because they see Israel as a holy land the same way that other Christians around the world do, that Muslims do, that Jews do. It's specifically because they believe they need the restoration of the temple in order for Jesus to return again. They are using Israel. They are using the Jewish people there in order to fulfill their eschatology.
Yeah, by the way, I know much. I know that's exactly what he was doing. That's why that's why I said he was doing Holocaust denial, because he was.
Eschatological prophecy. That's the whole goal in conservative Christians in America supporting Israel. And a lot of them believe that electing somebody like Trump will help accelerate that process. It's weird to me that they saw Barack Obama as evil. They saw Kamala Harris as evil, but they didn't think that electing...
To be fair, I kind of see them as evil as well, but just not because they're black. It's because the drone strikes and the genocide and the tan suit as well. It was a bad choice.
Those folks that they literally would call the Antichrist, that they didn't think that electing those folks was going to accelerate the end times. It's voting for someone as Trump that they see, someone like Trump that they see as their God ordained, like basically living at the right hand of the Father, basically another Jesus figure. By the way, if you have not read the book Jesus and John Wayne, A+ do recommend it. Will help you understand why evangelical America is slathering over Trump. But so many evangelical Christians really kind of seem like doomsdayers. They are very much like, they say in the world, but not of it. Their mindset is focused on the second coming, or it's focused on heaven. It's focused on the kingdom of heaven being manifest here on earth. It's not actually about this life that we're living. That's why they see suffering is not that big of a deal. Because a lot of people, especially women, are meant to endure suffering. That's a good thing, and that will bring about blessings for you. And what happens to your body here actually doesn't matter that much. It's all about the condition of your soul or your spirit, depending on the denomination, whether they define it as soul or spirit, and whether you are right with God. The status of your salvation, which is again weird because so many white Christian men are obsessed with their own wealth and power while they're in this life in a way that you would think would compromise their salvation in the next one. And actually, this is very much why I have said for a long time that folks on the far left who have their violent accelerationist fantasies, who are willing to throw children, disabled people, the elderly, homeless folks under the bus for their bloody revolution that they think will bring about a second coming, a communist utopia. an authoritarian communist utopia, but their brand of authoritarianism, not the brand that we have now. That those folks have not deconstructed from their evangelical eschatology. They are still immersed in it. They are still living it out. They've just transferred that worldview, that perspective, that desire for the end times. They've transferred that from a second coming of Jesus, wanting to do what they can to bring that about.
I kind of said this about the new atheist people as well, a lot of them. That they still had a lot of the hang-ups of religion. They just had worked out that there wasn't a God. But they still had all of that other toxic shit. So they were still just incredibly racist and sexist and all the rest of it, but with the added annoyance, the added alloy of the smugness of thinking that they're definitely correct on matters of a theological nature.
They've transferred that into doing what they think will bring about their communist utopia. Strange how both of these groups were supporting not voting for Kamala. Strange how both of these groups thought that getting Trump back in the White House was going to accelerate the downfall of America and bring about their very disparate goals. And I think both of these groups are going to find out how hard they have misjudged when Jesus doesn't come back or we don't morph into an authoritarian communist utopia.
Okay. And this one is Let's Talk Tankies, brackets, and how their politics hurts community. Close brackets.
Is because this is the first I'm hearing about it. Okay, so tanky is a derogatory term used to refer to someone who basically is an authoritarian communist. They simp for authoritarian regimes like the USSR, like North Korea, like China, often kind of giving revisionist takes, downplaying human rights violations in order to justify making love to their political theory. Okay, Ruth and I have discussed this topic at length, so she's gonna weigh in.
In brain rot terms, if we're pretending that
So
the
presumably
political
this is, like, I don't know anything about these people, but just based on the genetics here, I'm guessing daughter.
this isn't just astrology for
That's like when you see a cat and an identical looking but smaller cat. And you're like, yeah, that's mama cat and baby cat.
Reddit, then tankies would be the far red color.
Okay, this is very upsetting.
We look like the colonials from Altamars right now.
Okay, so this is the political compass, which is just something from Reddit, right? But it's still a useful tool here. You're saying that tankies are in the red square. So you can see that tankies are basically theory bros who reflect a love of...
Okay, what's this? Pinochet, Reagan, Johnson. I don't get why... I honestly don't get why Trotsky is, like, in the middle. There. These fucking maps are always dog shit. But why is Trotsky right in the middle of the left there? When, like, he literally put down the Kronstadt rebellion. Like, he was an authoritarian. Just because he went to Mexico and got ice picked. And but beforehand fucked Frida Kahlo. Like, he sort of wanted to be Stalin, basically, but with a slightly different vibe. Like, he wasn't some fucking, like, chill dude. Fucking mad. Also, lol, Obama's further right than fucking... Obama is the same level of right-wing as Hitler. Look at that. Literally. Hitler, top there, top, but, you know, more authoritarian. But Obama is as right-wing, just more libertarian than authoritarian. As Hitler. As actual Hitler. I'll be honest with you, I don't think this means anything. This is bollocks. Absolute dog shit.
Of authoritarian, anti-democratic regimes. I've got a hot take here, but it's probably not the one you're expecting.
White people
Let's look
decided
at Madeline's videos
let's talk
from the
about
last few
Angela
days.
Davis's. White people
See if
decided
anything
that it was.
stands out
Let's
to
talk
you.
about Angela Davis's history with Black Panther. Okay, this will be my last misinformation addressing. Okay, here's another one. Another
Pinochet in the corner. That's Pinochet in the corner. That's him in the spotlight. Helicoptering people. Can we get some lols in chat for Augusto Pinochet being dead? Because it is funny that he was dead. That he still is dead. And will remain being dead. Forever.
thing. I fell into a pit of Democrats this week and they were trying. Okay, I know I must have really pissed off the Democrats. A few days ago, I went viral for posting. So one of my strongest political beliefs. Okay, so this is actually something I think is really. Okay, so TikTok suspended my. Those of you who follow me might remember.
That's
so when I
quite. That is quite an annoying voice. The fact that she's posting so much is fine. I don't think that needs to be criticised particularly. Pedo checks it. True. But yeah, this person's voice is very, very annoying. I fell into a pit of Democrats. Like, oh, Jesus Christ. You know, in America, they've got just like a country full of these people. Like, they just exist. They're just roaming about the place, being. I don't know how anyone lives there, honestly. Can we all have a little prayer for No Justice, that she survives this?
I mean, okay, fellow white leftists, I have some advice for you, Madeline, for me. It's interesting to me how the topics that I cover on my TikTok often converge, and this is a prime example of that. I know that TikTok as a platform expects rapidity of response. It is a rapid fire platform where an immediate reply video, an immediate reaction, while a topic is hot and trending, will garner you more views and more profit, more attention, increased follower numbers. So
that's why I'm responding to this video from 2 months ago, because I am snappy.
Madeline made a video that got some very just criticism, and instead of sitting with that criticism, processing it, the platform encouraged them to make an immediate response. And then the app functioned as it was intended, an explosion of content, comments, responses, response videos, prompting Madeline to continue to churn out videos. And I know I have been guilty of this in the past too, but white leftists, heck, any white people.
Leftists.
We as a demographic have very little distress tolerance. We have very little ability to sit with discomfort, to sit with criticism. We have a propensity to get defensive. We can't.
What's that say? When black women criticize you, responding immediately with "all Democrats are evil" is, and then it's an emoji, but I can't see what kind. Let's bigger it. It's I think that's like yikes emote.
Cannot handle people thinking ill of us or disagreeing with our opinions. And this platform capitalizes off of that reality. We get escalated, our distress is really high. We don't know how to sit with that distress. And so when we should take time for thoughtful reflection, we just double down. It increasingly escalated as we receive more criticism and feel compelled to defend ourselves immediately. Watching Madeline over the last few days just reinforces for me how much distress tolerance we as white people need. How poorly equipped we are to take criticism, to sit with it, to process it.
I'm good at taking criticism. I'm what you're fucking talking about, bitch. Why did you do that, Joke Curve? Why? Dickheads.
Respond in a way that builds community instead of shoring up the self. And I felt a lot of empathy for them because I have been guilty of this many times. We have not had to build those skills that people of color and other marginalized groups have had to build. Thanks to white supremacy, our white privilege. And I think if we want to engage as leftists...
Nah, didn't scare me. You didn't scare me, you little pricks. Thank you, Flint, who says, sending you stuff on Discord, Kev, you might like it, lol. Well, I will check that out, thank you.
And do so with authenticity that promotes community care, that upholds the values we claim to have. We have got to build distress tolerance skills. We have got to learn to feel our discomfort without feeling compelled to be defensive. We've got to be okay with being wrong, with having bad takes, with having simply unnuanced takes. We have to be receptive to the idea that our perspective...
I'm going to be honest with you, Flint, I don't like it, because I don't get it. Also, this man lacks literally any amount of bulge. But then again, it's probably AI slop, so, you know. I will fight Kev for his runny cheese.
So I get it.
Oh, she was on the D program. Oh, okay. Madeline Pendleton. Oh, I don't know this person. I'll have to look into their oeuvre. Thank you, Roha.
May not encompass the entirety, every angle, every truth in a concept or conversation.
What does it say? We as white folks tend to double down and get more puritanical and extreme when called out. Rather than examining the critique, we lash out, play victim, let our fans bully POC, and infantilize ourselves while vilifying those who criticise our position.
I feel like this drama spiraled real hard. It's happened with a lot of other white creators. The urge to be defensive, to protect the self, our own ego, our need to prioritize our opinions, our inability to handle critique, especially from people of color. Ooh, my eyelashes are back. It didn't need to be this way. Building distress tolerance skills will help us as white people not only handle the reality that we are not the end-all and be-all and we do not know everything there is to know, but it will also help us.
I do know most of the things, to be fair.
In an authentic way. It certainly will help us be better allies and be more effective change makers.
Well, let's have a look. Madeline Pendleton? Madeline Pendleton. Author? Is she an author? Apparently she's an author. On the Instagrams. Let's have a look what she's been saying lately. If it will load at all. Is she... Reels? It's Reels, isn't it, the video? Okay. Give me audio, please.
Well, we're seeing the government for what it really is. We're seeing the system for what it really is. And now, I think the people in the upper echelons of our economic hierarchy, I think they're now realizing that there is really a thirst for real, true...
No offense, dude, but I want to listen to what this person
He
has
gets
to say.
everything he wants. He gets his wife back. He saves the day. He gets his son kind of back miraculously in some weird way. He gets a stand-in son. And yes, he gets the all-American pretty blonde daughter that he wished he had.
What? Oh. Oh, that one doesn't have audio. What? Video has no sound. Make videos with sound. Well, she's a leftist, whatever.
Hey, Madeline, you said that I seriously need to get a life, that I'm bizarre, disingenuous, and ignorant. This is really disappointing to see from you.
I'm confused
as I said
as
in
well.
my comment to you, my daughters followed you for years, recommended...
Oh yeah, couldn't I, Rohak? I could just do that. Because you linked it to me, didn't you? So I could have just done that. Does it look like I'm going to fucking do that? Are you new here?
your content to me. I thought we shared similar values. Your behavior over the last few weeks has been seriously disappointing to witness. Your defensiveness, your need to lash out in attacks when faced with valid, honest critique. Calling me bizarre just smacks of like mean girl shit. I've never been disingenuous, and I get why you need to use ad hominems rather than examine the fact that folks don't like some of the things that you've said, that folks find flaws in your arguments.
Also, like,
and find the
is this entire, like, hectoring thing that she's doing, is this just about, like, oh, you should vote for the Democrats? Is that her entire bit? That she's the leftist that votes for Democrats? Because, like, other than, like, finger-wagging about how bad other people are or something, what's the point that she's really making here? Like, it seems hollow otherwise. Like, not pearl-clutching, but, like, I don't know, holier-than-thou fucking bullshit, you know? She doesn't seem like a bad person, necessarily, just not a very chill person.
The weaponization of your fan base dangerous and irresponsible. It's really unfortunate to see this kind of behavior out of someone who claims to be interested in building a better world.
Do you think she'd reprimand? Why you gotta be horny about it all the time? Why is it always got to be a horny thing? She's got glasses. There's a dummy mummy energy, I know, but like, keep it in your pants for a hot second.
I would have hoped you could do better than this. Okay, Madeline Pendleton, here we go. A white non-male leftist has some thoughts on another white non-male leftist and all of the discourse that's been going on the last few days. I am not surprised by the current shit show that is happening right now. I am encouraged by some of the thoughtful conversations that have come out in the wake of it. I don't follow Madeline, but I got clued into them way before I did TikTok. That's because I have 2 adult daughters who came to me years ago and were like, Mom, there's this person on TikTok. And at the time I was like, I don't do TikTok. And they were like, no, you would really love their content, right? Like one anti-capitalist to another, you would love to hear what they have to say. But very quickly we all realized that Madeline was more than someone with a fashion degree, running a business, using anti-capitalist values. They were also a tanky. And for me, that's like a big fucking red flag. Finding out that they were spewing the same kind of talking points that the very young white male tankies were spewing on my social media.
But what points? Can she actually make like a substantive accusation or like point? What is the toxicity that you're fighting back against? You say they're spewing points. What points are they spewing? What terrible things have they said? Rather than just going terrible, tell me what the thing is and tell me why it's wrong. Otherwise, you're just hectoring people. You're just sort of like, it's just whiny. You're in danger of becoming the kind of hectoring, finger-wagging person that the right wing like to pretend the left wing women are. Like you're becoming, or not that you're literally becoming it, but like you're in danger of straying into that territory of being the stereotypical whiny, like you can't do anything fun type leftist thing, you know, that largely fucking straw man bullshit, you know. She spewed pro North Korea propaganda. Well, that's fucking dumb if you did that. I'm very disappointed in you, and I'm not telling you why, Kevin. Well, that's fine. You can go fuck yourself sideways. Yeah, I said it. And what? I'm not taking it back. I'll leave it out there for all the world to see. Kev, you should watch it. She explains how the Democrats approached her with 2 campaign ideas. One fear-mongering around Project 2025 and another about how great all the laws the Democrats passed in the last 4 years. She didn't want to attach her name to a party of genocide. Then they basically piled on her afterwards, accusing her of being a landlord/capitalist or something. Right. Okay. Well, I mean, the Democrats are fucking useless, so that seems like the kind of thing they might do, I guess. But I don't know. Like, they haven't done much to push back against Trump, but they are still fundraising, so good to know they've still got some power.
Facebook and my YouTube.
Well, I don't need to watch it now, Rohak, because you've literally told me. You've literally explained the plot of the movie to me, so why would I bother watching it now? You didn't do spoilers or anything. You absolute fucking jeb-end.
YouTube. Basically saying North Korea was this utopia. The only reason we think otherwise is because of American propaganda. And along with that, denying the Uyghur genocide. Huge red flags. And I saw another creator on here, I'm going to tag them, Grace, say that a white tanky is always a red flag. Because they will put theory above...
Jesus Christ. That's really... Okay. Like, don't get me wrong. There are a lot of white tankies who are bad. But, like... Again, you're just sort of doing the weird thing that the right claim the left does, that mostly the left doesn't fucking do. Why would a black tanky be any better? Surely it's the tanky thing that's the problem, isn't it? Like, it's not like I don't know, a Indonesian tanky is like super cool or anything. They're still a fucking tanky. Why is a white tanky a red flag? But which, by the way, tankies like red flags, so I mean, I'm not sure what that's about. But yeah, like It's just like, I don't want to be this guy, but it kind of seemed like a little bit of reverse racism, unironically. Literal reverse racism against the white tankies. It's outrageous. What is this? Rescue beaver makes Christmas dam in house. I'm on board. Go on, beaver lad, you got this. Fucking nailed it, bro. Look at that, took down a whole tree by himself. What an absolute king. Look at that, there's no water getting past that. Look at him. He knows he's there. It's absolutely lovely work. He's even got a SpongeBob on the go. Oh, let's go. Look at that. There is not a drop of water making it past that dam. Look at that. And the SpongeBob being used for its rightful purpose. Lovely work. Lovely work. Honestly, this is top beavering. Oh, look at this. He's literally just pulling the entire fucking house into the doorway. Fuck yes. Go on, there's plenty of shit. Look at that. You're going to fold it back on yourself, mate. There you go. There you go. Got it. Got it. Nailed it. Let's go. Fuck yes. It's got a chunky beast. That's a chunky beaver. That is a chubby. It's a chubby beaver. I'm going to fat shame this beaver. That is a thick beaver. Yeah, he don't give a fuck. He's got business to attend to. Fuck yes. Now he's got a. Is that Squidward or some shit? I don't fucking watch SpongeBob. Whatever. You got a Squidward and a fucking SpongeBob and a Christmas tree. Fuck yes. Honestly, I could watch him just beavering all day. The fuck is this now? What's he got here? Is that a flag or some shit? Oh, that's fucking amazing. Why haven't we watched beavers before? We should watch more beavers. And chinchillas. Fucking epic.
Of the lives of real people, right? In their mind, they're perfectly willing to sacrifice other people to their bloody revolution. And at the end of their video, Sarah said something that 100% sums up my perspective on tankies and why, for me, I will always be hesitant to align myself with them. Or
They
to
do
give
have
too
little
much
people
credence to their
hands.
viewpoint.
Yes.
They said something to the effect of like, tankies feel that they are enlightened while everybody else is not. And therefore, they have the right to tell people of color, especially black people, how to secure their own liberation. It's a level of hubris, of arrogance, that comes from a place of white privilege, that comes from an insulated place where theory is all you ever have to work with, because you don't really have to experience the concepts you're talking about in real life, ever. It's the kind of zealotry that can only come from a place of insulation and privilege. It's a kind of purity.
Are you suggesting that Jason Unruh hasn't literally done a cultural revolution? Because I will say, source?
Self-righteous political viewpoint that few people of color in America have ever had the luxury of upholding, embracing, espousing. And while I appreciate a lot of Madeline's anti-capitalist sentiment, having a fashion degree and running a business does not make you an expert on black liberation. And I think they and any other white leftist and every tanky would do well to sit and listen to what black folks are saying about the election and about politics in America.
Any more evidence that Madeline Pendleton harbors white supremacy?
Okay, I have a lot.
Hang on, what's this? This dude is the definition of a nasally, whiny Jew. Okay, you know what? I'm going to say that's not a fucking cool thing to say about a person. Like, if you want to say they're nasally and whiny, fine. Why would you speculate upon this person's ethnicity like that? That's gross. Don't fucking do that. Yeah.
Any more evidence that Madeline Pendleton harbors white supremacy?
Okay, I have a lot of thoughts on Madeline Pendleton, and I will save those for another video. But I want to talk here specifically about white leftists, specifically about tankies. As someone who was a long time ago a libertarian, saw the error of my ways, I think libertarianism is a phase that a lot of people go through when they're...
Well, firstly, it's annoying to me that the Americans have misused the word libertarian, because it was always anti-authoritarian leftist. And then the Chicago cunts got on board and went like, "Oh, no, that means right-wing pro-capitalist now. Yay, penis, eh?" That sort of thing. I heard someone say that Boris sounded more chinchillian than Churchill. He does sound like a chinchilla. And he also likes to roll around in dirt. So, you know, he's got that as well. And I think we should keep him in a cage.
They're deconstructing, and I've been a leftist for a long time. And throughout all of those phases, I have been a staunch anti-capitalist. I have noticed a lot of similarities between libertarians and tankies, especially when it comes to white supremacy.
Of how to not
I'm not
handle
saying that Madeline is
modern...
intentionally pandering to white supremacists. I mean, the anti-black comments of the last few days do not
Yes,
help.
thank you,
but I think it's almost
255.
impossible to...
I'll check that out. That sounds fun. Because, like, the video they've linked me here is...
Very good examples of how to not handle...
is entitled, "Was Star Wars Always Political?" To which the answer is yes. Yeah, I mean, literally. Yeah, it's literally an allegory for Nazism and the resistance. That's literally what it is. George Lucas literally said that's what it is, and he made the fucking films. So, yeah. And Greedo shot first. I said it. I'm not taking it back.
be a tanky and not promote white supremacy and not automatically appeal to white supremacists. And I think for any of us white folks, white leftists who feel some kind of draw toward tankyism, the fact that those viewpoints garner support from white supremacists would be a big flashing red light and cause us to pause and reevaluate.
Okay.
I'm far from a tanky, but being anti-tanky is the most meaningless political position you could take. Huge red flag. Being opposed to authoritarian regimes is a red flag. Declining to participate in a circle jerk for...
Yeah, yes, I do know which one Greedo is. It's the one that shot first. Shut up, Fogel.
Stalin, the Khmer Rouge, China's human rights violations. That's a huge red flag. Wait, didn't I just make a video where I said that white male leftists have to earn a spot in my FYP and in my following?
What's FYP? Fuck your privilege. I don't know.
Time to go black.
Time to go black?
Yeah, slapping labels on people, you're no better. This is on a video where I describe the term tanky, which is a pejorative, and I will use it freely where it applies. Because, like, if you have a shit take and support authoritarian regimes that commit human rights violations, if you put your political theory above the well-being of marginalized people, if you use your communism to justify anti-blackness, I have no problem calling a fig a fig. But once again, white people, including white leftists, are more...
How would you use communism for anti-blackness? Don't get me wrong, I'm sure some people do it, because, like, if the internet has shown me one thing, it's that every type of possible person that could exist does exist. And things that you can't even think of, and when you're told about them, sound so extreme and dumb and wrong that you think, well, there's no way anyone actually... No, there are people who believe that. But I'm just thinking, like, how would you use communism to be anti-black? I genuinely am fascinated by that one. I'm sure they exist. I'm sure there are mental bastards around who actually do fall in with that shite, but, you know, because there are definitely racists who are communist. Communism doesn't dictate what your views on race or ethnicity are. You can be a communist and an ethno-nationalist in theory. You'd be fucking mental, but you could do it. You could have the economics and then go, no, but just for white people. Which would be weird and mental and shit.
More upset at having their racism called out, their anti-blackness called out, than they are at other white leftists perpetuating anti-blackness and enacting racism on marginalized groups. You really think somebody calling out racism and critiquing anti-blackness from other white people is no better than someone...
Yeah, Rez, really does have that, like, annoying tone to it. Yeah. Yeah. Like, it's very, very annoying. For you page. Okay. How did Greedo miss at short range? Well, how do men miss the toilet when they piss? That's close range.
Perpetuating anti-blackness with their massive platform. Thank you for so clearly proving my point about fellow white leftists. Speaking of tankies, and I explain what they are in the video where this comment was left, maggots also think like this. They are okay with dictators as long as it is on their side. They are so much alike, but can't even see it. Yep, I'll agree with that. And then
okay, I sort of had the feeling that we were going to get into some horseshoe theory type shit at some point. Like it always felt like it was verging on her going like, the far left and the far right, I can't tell the difference. Yeah, okay, cool.
People will start decrying like, oh, horseshoe theory is so unnuanced and has so many problems. But like if you're on the authoritarian left, you have a lot in common with the authoritarian right, namely authoritarianism. The descent from tanky into fascist is, you know, a short, gentle slide.
So just a restatement of horseshoe then, Eli.
A Republican like Harris, who gives them all the shit that they want, but isn't quite, like, she's kind of like Trump in blackface.
Okay, this came through on my FYP, and I noticed that you follow me, so I'm going to ask you to clarify. What do you mean that Kamala Harris is Donald Trump in blackface? What do you mean by that? Aside from the fact that it is a very poor political...
Exactly, like Donald Trump does blackface on his own, okay?
analysis to say that Kamala's politics are basically Republican politics and they're someone the Republicans would find palatable. You clearly have not looked at her platform, nor her voting record as a senator if you are equating her politics to those of Republicans. Like, I strongly disagree with a number of her policies, but she's not a fucking Republican. But I would just love it if you could please explain to me what you mean when you say that an experienced, intelligent, educated black woman is just Donald Trump in blackface. This is on one of my videos where I talked about how men on the left need to deconstruct from the patriarchy because they currently have brought all of their misogyny with them. And they're not, by and large, safe allies for women. I saw some leftist bro who said that we need an Andrew Tate of the left. The dude is a rapist and a human trafficker. What do you mean we need an Andrew Tate of the left? This is what I'm saying. Men have not unpacked and deconstructed from the patriarchy.
Like, if they just mean like an edgy dickhead who can appeal to young people or whatever, okay, fine. But that's an unbelievably gross way of putting it, isn't it? Like, yeah, we don't need an Andrew Tate of the left. We need an Andrew Tate in jail and good people on the left. Thank you.
They are not safe for women. If they want to be effective in creating change, they've got to become more self-aware and realize that their shit does in fact stink. This person said, it's amazing the things men will admit to thinking when surrounded by other men. It's exactly shit like this. I am still scared of them. Yeah, this was in reference to my video where I showed a clip of Hassan Piker basically saying it would be a good thing if conservative women got date raped. Like, dudes on the left, what's your goal here?
Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa! Hold the horses! Did Hassan say that? What was the thing I showed a clip of Hassan Piker basically saying...
It would be a good thing if conservative women got date raped. Like, dude...
Okay, I am actually going to have to go... Source? Because, like... unless there's a bit of fucking drama that I missed. Actually, that would be beyond drama. That's not drama. If there's some disgusting evil shit that I missed, like, yeah, I'm gonna need to hear what he actually said. Question: why does she lift her glasses to read? Are they just to make her look smart? Not necessarily, no. It depends whether one is short or long-sighted. And therefore you've got, some people will need specific reading glasses for something that's close to them. And some for far away. So it depends, basically. Which is why some people have either varifocals or bifocals, which allow for both. And which is why you'll see them doing that thing, or looking at the top, because half of the glass is long and half is short. Anyway. Yeah. Basically, it's hard to explain. So he did say that. Rohak, what the fuck? When did he say this? What? It was a joke about conservatives going to a weird, scammy, non-woke university. But what's that got to do with date rape? I'm genuinely... Brother, I would find the clip, but it was so long ago. Well, I am okay, well, if someone can actually find that for me at some point, post it in the Discord, because I feel like I do need to see that. Because this one completely passed me by, which is odd, because I'm in this space, and I care about these issues, so, like... Yeah... That's not good. I'm just gonna say that's not good. I need the full context of it, but like...
Dudes on the left, what's your goal here? What are your ethics? What are your values? And are you willing to do the work, the heavy lifting of deconstructing from the patriarchy in order to achieve those goals? I am not one to be puritanical in my thinking. Well, actually, I have worked really hard to deconstruct from Puritan.
Oh, you found it? Well, that was fucking quick. Good God. Good God, sir! Let's have a look.
They were at least...
Okay. Right.
They were... At least Patrick Henry College is, like, doing one good thing, which is that, like, if you have these fucking millionaire, billionaire, WASP fail sons... at least taking them out of other colleges so they can only do date rape to other billionaire, millionaire failed daughters is, like, in some respects, you know, from a utilitarian perspective, of course, a little bit better. You know what I mean? Like, taking these guys and putting them in a pen with one another is ultimately getting them away from the broader society. Teaching. They were... At least Patrick Henry...
Yeah, I don't think it's quite what she said, but that is a spectacularly gross and I think misjudged attempt at humour. That's gross. That's really gross. I'm just going to put that out there. That's... Yeah. I don't know if he addressed that, but I hope he did. And I hope he was like, yeah, I shouldn't have said that or some shit. But, oh, God, that's horrible. Don't fucking say dumb shit like that.
Puritanical black and white thinking. I have seen how much that hurts me and those around me. And so I've worked really hard to no longer think and view life through that lens. I talk a lot in my...
He says that's maliciously edited by Destiny fans. Okay, well, if someone has the longer clip or whatever, okay, but... It's still, I mean, it's still gross, I think. But, okay.
YouTube
like, I'm not going to stop watching him on that basis, because I don't think he said what she said he said.
good, better, best. How when we are constrained by an unethical society, we can't always make ethical choices. We didn't create the system in which we are forced to operate. But that doesn't mean that we should give up striving to do the best that we can. Not being nihilistic. No, like ecclesiastical, everything is meaningless. We chase after the wind, so I might as well tip over into hedonism and screw how my choices hurt other people or the planet. But I do want to say I find it odd how many folks in the run-up to this election were hyper-focused on one issue, drew a hard line in the sand, strangely unnuanced, illogical, faulty line in the sand, about how a vote for Kamala is a vote for G-side. And yet those same folks are still on Twitter.
What the fuck? I gotta say, like, I think you need some unpacking of some fucking shit, frankly. That's fucking gross. Oh, these people, they cared about genocide. What fools, what idiots. They should have just voted for the candidate who said that they were going to continue to do genocide. And you're an anti-capitalist leftist, are you? Okay. If you say so. I haven't seen a lot of evidence for that, frankly, but okay.
So now G-side is not a deal breaker. Okay. The last few days, I've seen an increase in comments from white...
What's Twitter? Hang on. Being on Twitter, why is that... What? Hang on. Hang on. I'm going to go back. Is that...
election. We're hyper-focused on one issue, drew a hard line in the sand, strangely unnuanced.
Yeah, I will draw a hard line in the sand against genocide, yeah. Apologies. Apologies for my lack of bending to you, bending the knee to you on that.
Illogical, faulty line in the sand, about how a vote for Kamala is a vote for G-side. And yet those same folks are still on Twitter. So now G-side is not a deal breaker. Okay.
The fuck does that mean? What does that mean? How does being on Twitter equal you are pro-genocide? It is great. It is brain rot. This is brain rot. But to be fair, I did promise you brain rot. I did promise you slop, so enjoy. Eat up, little piggies. Oh no, we're not doing that. I'm not becoming a feeder.
The last few days, I've seen an increase in comments from white accelerationist tankies, chronically online theory bro leftists, both on my TikTok, but also on my YouTube and on my...
100% of the comments across all three platforms have been white dudes. 100%. Okay.
Facebook. And it's always some iteration of like, the Democratic Party shouldn't have put up a G-sider Kamala as their candidate, and you shouldn't have voted for her. So,
well, I mean, they shouldn't have put her up, sure. Yeah. I mean, obviously you can vote for whoever you want, but yeah, they shouldn't have put her up. But I mean, to be fair, really, we have to take one step back and go with Joe Biden should never have run. His own internal polling said he was definitely going to lose. And yet this fucking doddering old cunt decided to still crawl out there from the crypt to try and run. And was so bad that they eventually went, no, fuck off, Joe. Go and lie down and die in the corner or whatever. I don't give a fuck. Crazy old cunt. And the only person that realistically could take over was Kamala. Because of the money that had been raised for the Kamala Harris campaign, she was like the only other person who could have been the candidate at that point. So if Joe Biden doesn't run, they should then have put up a person who wasn't pro-genocide, yes. Or at least keeps it in their pants a little bit. At least they're not like, yay, Israel. Israel's fucking awesome. I'll do everything Israel wants. Even if they're going to give Israel 95% of what they want. Yeah, she could have turned it around, but like she was handed a difficult situation that needn't have happened because she shouldn't have been the candidate. Question: at the point Joe pulled out, do you think anyone could have taken over and won? Well, Kamala could have taken over and won, as I was sort of alluding to there. She could have turned it around, but it was difficult. And like, you're supposed to have a long run up into the presidential race, right? And she didn't. She basically had to race against someone from a standing start, which is not easy. But she still, I mean, they actually started well when they were doing vaguely progressive things. When she chose a progressive vice presidential candidate and she was out there, you know, not being shit. She was doing all right in the polls. And then the usual fucking, like, policy wonk, fucking adults in the room, beltway fucking losers who always fucking lose got involved, and she was out there campaigning with fucking, what was her fucking name? Liz Cheney. What are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? Mad. Absolutely insane.
Stop complaining about the decrepit Cheeto reality that we're all living now. First off, I block those folks immediately because, as I said a while ago, I'm not giving them my attention anymore. But second of all, what do they think those comments are accomplishing? I mean, I guess the same folks who thought that their vote for Jill Stein was going to accomplish something think that they are doing something with comments like that.
I'm just going to say, I don't think this person is a bad person, but I'm definitely getting, like, annoying, like, hectoring leftist killjoy vibes from it, is what I'm getting. When I say it, I mean the content, not it as in, I'm not calling her it.
We actively voted for harm reduction. I mean, I think tankies want folks to suffer. Many have stated that they wanted the Cheeto to win. But if they are unhappy with this outcome, they can take it up with all of the folks who voted for the future we are about to suffer under.
Okay, well that was fucking horrible. I hope you feel suitably chastised for being naughty leftists. See, she's the kind of person that makes being a tanky seem less bad. Don't get me wrong, I'm still against tankies. I think tankies are twats. But, like, when your average person who doesn't know shit about this situation sees a tanky, like, having fun, like playing a video game or whatever, and then they see, like, that person going, "Oh, you shouldn't do anything that I don't like." Like, which one do you think they're gonna, like, move toward? Just on vibes based, you know? Like, and that's how most people choose their fucking politics, or at least how they enter the political sphere. They might drift from this to that and all the rest of it, but realistically, like, they get into it based on a certain vibes. And, like, you make leftism seem soul destroying. You make leftism seem very, 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 not just boring, but, like, aggravating. Like, every waking moment of your life you need to be on constant guard in case you accidentally do a fucking microaggression or something. Like, you are, to some extent, the straw man, parody, bogeyman that right-wingers claim leftists are. The vast majority of leftists are not. As irritating and annoying as leftists are, they're often irritating and annoying in very different ways than that. But you are that. You are that person. And it's a shame, because I remember that the first video we watched from her seemed okay, but that was a trek. That was a trudge. A trudge through the sludge. Yeah, fucking awful. Okay, I'll be back tomorrow with there's a new philosophy tube which we might take a look at, depending on how, like, weird it is. I don't know. And then we've got some Man United fans being annoyed that they lost. Will be good. Yeah, and probably whatever absurd shite comes out of tomorrow's emergency wankfest in Paris. Yay! So if that's of interest to you, by all means, pop along. If it's not, that's also fine. But then, like, I've got nothing for you. I don't know. Yeah. You'll enjoy the Mussolini reference Abby makes. Well, I'm always happy for a Mussolini reference because we can use the fucking emote. Like, I'm always constantly looking for ways to shoehorn that cunt in now. Because A, it is still funny. Like, he will never not be funny. He was literally upside down. God, that was funny. And we get to use the emote. So there's that. Anyway, the point being, let's take a look who I can send you over to on the YamTubeage. I think it was definitely a child, because now it's moved into the beyond the wall and is still screaming at nearly 11 the fucking evening on a school night. And is screeching through the fucking wall. Who is going on Twitch? Some random geek. I'll send you over to some random geek. Go and say hello to them. Who is going on? So that was on YouTube. Who is going on Twitch? Mooncat. We haven't been over to Mooncat in a little while, so I will send you there. I don't know what they're up to. It could be music, it could be politics, it could be both. I don't fucking know. Yeah, like I say, I'll be back tomorrow. Thank you so much for all of your support. Thank you for listening and watching. Stay beautiful. Free Palestine. And no pass around.